Sorry for being a little late. It is the summertime, and our children, as kids go, I think maybe everybody did this in the summer. You just stay up later, so bedtimes just keep getting later and later. So here in the next 10-15 minutes, I will leave you guys with OG and George here as I tell my children good night. But figured we'll get the live stream going and have a good time here, because I realize I'm really bad at celebrating milestones. So I never did anything for hitting 10K. I didn't do anything for hitting 12K. And I realized it was my birthday and we also hit 13,000. And I was like, I should probably do something to celebrate. So this is like the throw it all in there together. I don't know. Are you guys that way? Like, I'm not really big. I just maybe forget to celebrate stuff. I don't really know what it is.
I'm kind of the same way. I typically, we'll do it occasionally, but I typically just like to keep going, and I don't celebrate every single.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Yeah. I just kind of I look and I'm like, okay, cool, and then I'm very goal oriented, so I just move on to the next thing. My wife's like, you need to celebrate stuff. I'm like, I probably do, but
but Jared, happy birthday, brother.
Thank you.
Congratulations. 13K is huge, man. Huge.
It's wild. I mean, it's really wild as it grows. I mean, I started doing the daily videos like about a year ago, and it's fun. It's interesting, and it's weird as you grow. Like when you first start out, your first 1,000 subs is the hardest thing to get, and then you start compounding it, and you're like, it's crazy. YouTube's a fun, crazy place. But I am joined, as usual, on Theme Park in here. We are down Slimer. Slimer is out dealing with Ghostbuster stuff, I assume. As he my chair here. He is ever waiting for Rip Ride Rocket to become a Ghostbusters roller coaster, but he will be back on the next one. We are joined as usual by Orange Grove 55. Sir, thank you for being here, of course.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Always fun talking to you guys, chopping it up. I love these conversations. We got a lot of great topics today. We're going to talk about Rivers of America. I think we got some HHN stuff, so it's going to be a good time. I can't wait.
Yeah, there's a lot of HHN stuff out there. Definitely talk about that. And we're joined by George the Italiano. George, how are you doing? And you're beardless, kind of. I feel like you shaved an hour ago, and now you have.
Yeah, I actually shaved 2 days ago. I shaved before surgery, so this is.
Oh, you had your surgery for your.
I had it yesterday. Yeah.
Oh wow! So you're doing good.
I am currently right now. I am kidney stone free. So
that's good to hear. That's good to hear. My mother-in-law just had knee replacement surgery, so she's dealing with that, which is wild how much of it's not as invasive as it used to be, sort of scenario. But
yeah, it's funny, like with surgery, like they do it like laparoscopically or lasers, and like they don't even touch you anymore.
My grandma back in the 90s had double knee replacement. She was in the hospital for 5 days, and my mother-in-law literally had it done at 9 a.m. and she was home by like 2. And you're just like, oh, that's it.
That's wild.
Like they make you walk around like immediately too. It's kind of wild how quickly they get you to do that stuff. But we'll say hi to the chat. Well, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, soon it's going to be all like robotic arms and AI that does it for it, like the surgeries.
Oh yeah,
it's crazy.
They already kind of do that on. I think it's hernias. They kind of like it's like machine assisted in some way, which I've always had a huge fear of getting a hernia. So I have buddies that have had the surgery and stuff like that. And I'm always like, oh, I want it.
Oh man,
freaking me out. But we'll say hi to the chat here. What's up, Jacob Weller? Says happy birthday for him tomorrow as well. Well, happy birthday to you, Jacob Weller.
Yes.
He said also says congrats on 13K subs. Heading to bed. Well, good night, Jacob. Hope you have a good restful sleep there. We got Don Quixote 60 says happy birthday. Thank you. And Disney Resorts fan. Oh, I thought it was just Disney Resorts. I thought Disney was chiming in. So happy birthday. We'll be at Epic tomorrow. That's awesome. Hopefully the wait times aren't that bad for you, because Epic lately has been the wait times just keep creeping up there a little bit.
So they've been ramping up that attendance cap over there at Epic.
It's hard to know. So they had Thrill Data had that they would show the caps, and it seems like they had some way, I don't really know how, they were into the back end of their system to be able to see it, and now it just shows no cap, but they're still capping it because they're still not, I don't think they've gotten above 20,000 guests in the park. Maybe they have at some point, but yeah, I don't think they're capping it. But they do show their max. I think toward Christmas, they show the overall capacity being like 55,000. So I think that's where they want the park to be eventually. But right now they haven't hit that quite yet. But
I know the day that I went, it must have been a fluke, because I mean, Ministry of Magic was open. It was only 45 minutes. And then 3 days later, it's up to 200 minutes. And
yeah. Well, Ministry's actually gotten a lot better with its wait times lately. So it's actually been improving, and like it hasn't gone down as much, which is good. But yeah, that opening weekend was very much an anomaly because those wait times skyrocketed within like less than a week after the opening period there.
Which is honestly good to see. I want to see this park really do well. I've been really loving, like I've always liked Universal quite a bit, but lately I've been really impressed with what they've been doing, even out here in Hollywood. Like I've been going to Universal way more than Disney this year, and I've been having a ball. I love the after hours events that they throw, and I just want to see them do really well in this space. I think there's room for both of these companies to thrive, and I'm all for it.
Absolutely. Well, and I actually recorded. I'm going to release it tomorrow, but I did a reaction to. I've been talking a lot about Universal's sort of regional approach to stuff, and Traction Ideas had a video talking about it, which I hadn't seen many people talking about it, but it's a very ambitious strategy they have with not only in Orlando, but like all these regional, like Horror Unleashed and the kids park and like what it could do. Like, I think it's actually a pretty, it's very ambitious, and we'll see if it pays off for them. But I think it's one of the ways they're trying to shortcut growth a little bit by like getting the name out there a bit more to like funnel it into Orlando. But
a couple of thoughts on the regional stuff and like the Horror Unleashed. Number one, the one in Nevada in Vegas, the more I hear about that, like I didn't know there was like going to be like a bar and like the scare actors come up to you. I think that's dope, dude. That sounds really, really fun. And that's exactly what the Vegas crowd is going to just eat up, dude. That's going to be massively successul. The other thing, right, it's going to be huge. The other thing that's interesting is them dipping into this regional park thing with the kid park in Texas, which I'm sure that won't be the first one. It'll be all over the place.
Oh yeah.
I wonder how that's going to impact places like Legoland and those other kind of more kid focused places. Cause now Universal's coming in with the big guns, you know, and Legoland's a great park, by the way. I mean, I love Legoland, but I mean, it's going to be hard if Universal is doing that thing, and how does Legoland compete? That's going to be rough.
Yeah, I kind of said on top of that too, because like regional parks have grown in popularity. Like where I'm from in Missouri, Silver Dollar City is 45 minutes away, and that park, ever since I was a kid, they're getting ready to build resorts now, and it's become like a coaster sort of haven. Like they've got a bunch of like high end coasters and stuff. I don't think though that park and like Dollywood would be hit too much, maybe, but you could definitely see like Legolands and some of these more regional parks. Like if Universal moves in there, it could definitely disrupt. And you also have the Netflix house concept that they're doing, which is it's very similar to Halloween Horror Unleashed. I always want to call it Halloween Horror Nights, but they're basically taking their IPs and making these, like, it has a movie theater in there. Then they've got Stranger Things, and then it's Squid Games and like little games you can play. It's not really a theme park. It's more of I guess you just call it like an entertainment venue. But they're putting them in Dallas, Philadelphia. They're putting them like 4 or 5 big cities. And I think it's the same concept you're going to see from Universal with what they're doing too.
That's wild. And that's smart. I think Netflix diversifying. You don't want to put all your eggs in that streaming basket, you know?
Right.
We've seen what happens with that, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, and with Netflix is very successful in it, but you never know. You don't want to become Redbox, basically, you know?
Well, very, very true. Yeah. And like this one here, it's Philadelphia and Dallas.
Uh-oh. Did we lose him?
Late 2025, and they said Vegas property they have, that's the horror one. I can't remember what it is. Shoot. Blumhouse. I could see them doing some of that stuff. But yeah, it's very interesting. And I've been talking about for a while. I really think if you look at what Universal's been able to do in eating up market share from Disney, like you could see a very ambitious company with deep pockets decide they want to get into more like the theme park game at some point.
Yeah, no, I think it's a smart move. I'm very curious how it does affect, some of the other stuff that they license out. Like I think the HHN house. I mean, HHN, they've had Stranger Things before, right?
Yes.
And things like that. I wonder how that will affect Netflix's licensing strategy going forward when it comes to theme park spaces. Now, I do apologize. When you were setting it up, Jared, I was unable to hear you. So I don't know if you've already covered that or not. My connection was choppy, but
okay.
I think that's interesting though, how that dynamic kind of plays out with this, you know, so we'll kind of see, but I think this is a smart move on Netflix's part. Netflix has really kind of created a lot of really strong in-house IP. And I think that this kind of thing is a smart move to sort of house that IP.
Yeah, and even talking, it kind of goes into this a little bit. And I was telling you guys before we went live, Sonic, so Sega and the company that owns them, they're opening up theme park. They don't, I guess, theme park entertainment, but they're looking at adding multiple locations in the U.S. just based off Sonic. And I think what you may end up seeing is this shift of, like you're saying, like Netflix has IPs, and typically you would license those out to bigger theme park companies. You could see a lot of these with strong IPs decide that they want to just do their own thing. And very similar to like streaming, where Netflix started as the hub of it, and they all decide to have their own streamers. You could see a lot more. I mean, I don't know if Sonic or Sega have enough properties to be able to do it on their own, but it's a very interesting concept for sure. I'll be right back. I'm going to tell my kids good night. You guys continue to chat, and I'll be right back.
It makes me wonder, too, if because there's not a whole lot of traveling going on right now. I mean, people are traveling, you know, obviously, but not in the amount that, you know, that they're used to seeing. So I wonder if a lot of these, you know, cities and states that don't really get a whole lot of tourism to begin with are like, you know what, if people aren't traveling anyway, let's kind of maybe capitalize on it on our own, and let's maybe put it here or place it there, so that way people can still have themed entertainment quality things in their own hometown, right, but they don't necessarily have to travel out of state.
Yeah, I like the when it comes to like the big boys, right? Like Disney or Universal. I like when they do, like, I think Universal is handling it perfectly with the Horror Unleashed concept, right? Because you're giving people in other parts of the country a taste of that Universal themed experience, but you're not giving them the whole thing. You're not giving them the whole themed experience with like an Epic Universe style park. You're giving them just a taste of it, right? Like a slice of that pie. So it's smart. And it doesn't really pull away from your theme parks because, you know, it doesn't offer as much as like the big park does. Now, I will say this, the kid park is a little bit more of a risk for Universal, just because that park, from what I'm seeing, because it is more of a kid park, like a Legoland, seems a little bit more budgeted, right? So when you have people, say in Texas, having that be their first kind of impression of a Universal theme park, I don't know how that's going to play out long term for the brand reputation, right?
I like the concept of a Universal kids park. I think that's genius on their part. But I think what they should have done was start one out that's connected to a resort of Universal already, or in a state that has a whole lot of theme park to-dos. So even though Legoland is a smaller park, you know, compared to Disney or Universal, it's more geared towards the little ones. It's still held in two states that hold a lot more entertainment value, Florida and California. So when you put in a Universal Kids Park in Texas, when there's really nothing in Texas that's going to drive people to there, but it's going to be a kids park, and as you mentioned, it kind of like on the lower budget end, yeah, that's, you know, to start out, I would have thought it would have been best to maybe place it in a resort, get people to know what it is, and then start moving it, sort of like how they did with HHN.
Yeah. Now Sonic, our good friend Mr. Webba, contributor over on my channel Orange Girl 55, great dude. He loves Sonic. You know, I know he would love a Sonic theme park. Where, like, I haven't seen this article. I haven't read the article. I don't have access to it until Jared comes back. But I mean, George, would you be cool with Sonic maybe coming into a Disney park, or do you feel like this isn't really like a good fit for the Disney? Like, obviously you're not going to put this in Magic Kingdom, but would you be cool with a Sonic maybe land or something like that? Maybe like in like Disney's Hollywood Studios, or is it kind of
I think actually Ebba asked me this because he brought it up to me, and he thought that it would be kind of beneficial for Sonic to go into Disney, because that way it kind of gives like a healthy competition with Nintendo at Universal. But for some reason, I don't know why, like I can't see a video game IP in a Disney park. But then again, if it's done well with taste, maybe it would be, maybe it would be worth it. Because if someone asked me, would you see Avatar in a Disney park? I'd say hell no. But like after they produced it and produced it really well, it's like, okay, now I can't unsee it. But to answer your question, if they were to do Sonic in a Disney park, yeah, definitely not Magic Kingdom. It would definitely, if for Walt Disney World, definitely would have to go in Hollywood.
It has to be Hollywood, yeah. Another interesting take on the Sonic IP would be using Wreck-It Ralph, that IP, as sort of a catalyst to work your way in. Like, for example, if you have like a really cool like Wreck-It Ralph e-ticket, well, Sonic makes a cameo in those movies. You know what I'm saying? So you could have a Sonic component to a Wreck-It Ralph attraction, which would also be, kind of cool in my opinion. But it's interesting. I don't know. I mean, Sega's looking to kind of get into other stuff. I think they've been very successful with the movies for Sonic the Hedgehog. So why not try your luck with attractions or lands or what have you? He's a very popular character. I've always loved the character. So I'm kind of curious to see how it all shakes out and how they utilize it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, as I said, if it's done well, if it's done to the same kind of caliber as Nintendo, I think it would be done really well. But it has to be done with taste.
Yeah. Now, here's the dilemma, though, with Sonic, right? With Sonic the Hedgehog, his whole thing is he's fast, right? So obviously, any Sonic the Hedgehog attraction would have to be something really, really fast. Yeah, it has to be. That's literally his brand. So how do you make it kid friendly and yet have it go really fast, right? So I think that's the kind of the dilemma with Sonic. Jared, I'm kind of curious to hear your opinion on this. Like with Sonic the Hedgehog, his whole shtick is that he's fast,
right?
But it's very much a kid IP though. It's very kid friendly. So how do you balance that? How do you make an attraction that goes fast and plays true to the character, but yet it's not too crazy for kids, right?
Yeah, it's a tough one because you do have the nostalgia because, like, I mean, I grew up playing. It's kind of weird, like, you have Nintendo and Sonic with this where you've got this resurgence due to the movies. So you have the kids that, like, our kids are really into Sonic right now. And then you've got the adults are. But I think, like, a roller coaster, I think, would be cool. But I do think it cuts you off from the kids segment of it. I'm not really sure attraction-wise. I mean, I guess you could go like a Hagrid's type where something's fast but not too insane in terms of like doing some sort of story with it or something like that. But I don't know really what they haven't given any more details about what they'll do with all this stuff. So there's no concept art or anything. There's just them saying they're going to do it. So go ahead.
No, sorry. I think honestly they would still have to add some sort of thrill to it because how Sonic goes through the loops to get the gold rings and everything. So I still think they would have to have some sort of kind of thrill coaster kind of quality to it. Because if you go, like you can kind of get away with a dark ride with like Super Mario or Kirby or even Zelda, but Sonic, it's such a high, fast-paced, moving game. You would have to have it if you were to have it in a ride form.
Yeah, I mean, apparently they're going to do this park not off of all the Sega properties, but just Sonic and like Knuckles and Tails. So, I mean, I don't know. I feel like a land makes a lot of sense. A whole theme park after Sonic is a little ambitious, but I suppose you could have like more kiddie area. You could have a big coaster. Like they're doing that. And the other thing too, it goes right into this. Mattel is doing their own theme parks called Adventure Parks. Wow. They're doing it in Kansas City and Arizona, and they're doing like Barbie's Beach House. They actually have a really cool Hot Wheels roller coaster called Bone Crusher they're building for that. So I guess you would say like Hot Wheels, you would assume it's more geared toward kids, but if they're doing a big coaster off of that, I mean, there's nothing that stops you from doing off for Sonic too.
Oh, 100%. And you know what's interesting, Jared, too, is this trend we're seeing where a lot of these companies are getting into the theme park game, which is very interesting because in a world where we depend more and more on being on the phones,
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. These companies now are investing more into like real life social experiences, right?
Yep.
Which is actually really refreshing to see. Because I'm like, maybe because I'm older, I don't know, but like I'm kind of like an old school guy where it's like I don't want to be on my phone all day.
Well, and I think the younger generations are doing that too. And I actually kind of think with as much AI and everything out there now, I actually kind of think on some level, people are going to gravitate more toward offline stuff just because you've already seen it with one generation being online all the time. Even like Gen Z right now, like there are a lot of them aren't even using smartphones. Like a lot of them are doing more offline experiences. I think you could see a resurgence of people just wanting real human interaction and real human experiences. And you know, if you have these IPs that normally would have maybe been licensed out to Universal or something, they set up their own little things, and you could. I think it would impact the regional stuff a lot more. But it's very interesting, like where the trends will go, and I don't necessarily think it's going to be more online. Just especially as AI continues to like YouTube's making a bunch of changes on AI content. They just announced, I think it takes place on the 15th.
Yeah.
So I mean, AIA is scary on what that's going to do in the next even year or two. But just the audiences and like just human nature reaction to it is very unprecedented. Like who knows where it goes, but I won't be surprised if you do have people wanting to go to theme parks more and doing more actual experiences other than just sitting in front of a screen.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. And that's why I was kind of disappointed when a little disappointed when I hear about like Josh Giamaro when he comes out there and they talk about like how they want to recreate theme park experiences in that digital world, right? You've heard that with that. And I'm like, that's cool, I guess, but it's like I don't know. Like for me, I just want to get away from that a little bit. And I think the theme parks are special because they're not that and because they are outside in the sun and in the, you know, I want to do stuff, real stuff. You know, I don't want to live
theme park to play a video game. Like you
Exactly.
want to, yeah. And well, and what's really interesting is how much video games are becoming much more mainstream with movies and shows now, and obviously theme parks and Super Nintendo world. So like obviously that's going to continue. I mean, video games as a market are bigger than movies. Like it's huge the amount of money that video games make. So you've got, I mean, there's a lot of. I think they're making a God of War show. I think on Amazon.
I like that concept. That's dope, dude.
It could be cool. I mean, God of War is a cool franchise.
Yeah.
So you just have a lot more of these prevalence, and I think undoubtedly you're going to see more of this in the theme parks. Now I don't know. Disney is an interesting one because like they obviously have their stake in Epic Games, but I don't see how you would bring Fortnite into theme parks. Like, cause I just don't. I don't know how you would do it.
It seems weird to me. It seems weird, and maybe they'll integrate it really well. I don't really know, or it'll be another like meta situation or the metaverse.
I don't mind it being like an add-on. Like you know, if someone can't get to the theme parks and you know they utilize it to say, okay, you're home, you could have the experience if you want to, but don't take away from the actual physicality of what theme parks are. Like growing out the theme parks of what you're doing, but just have the digital world of integrating into the theme parks as like an add-on kind of thing. You know, I'm okay with that as long as it just doesn't take over the actual physical space of what is a theme park.
Well, at one point with Epic Universe and Super Nintendo World, they were going to have it where if you brought your Switch, there was going to be some sort of internet connectivity with the Switch. I don't think they've done that, at least to my knowledge. But that's an interesting concept of having something of the game you bring into an area of a theme park that is themed after it, and it does what you were saying, George. Like it creates an extended experience, but it's not. And we've even seen this with people pushing back against Universal doing as many screens as they used to do, and people not wanting that as much. So I think that could even go even further, where people don't want to just be looking at a simulator screen. They actually want to be on a ride, to see set pieces like Hagrid's and things like that. Like I understand. I think I do enjoy. Like I like Ministry or Battle at the Ministry. I think it has a good mix, but you don't want to get on something that's just a simulator like you typically saw like in the 90s. Like I love Spider-Man, but those type of rides, I think people don't want as much as they do these more immersive like set pieces, animatronics, like all this stuff. I think that's what more people are wanting. And it may feed into it more with as much stuff online now too.
Well, I think too that's why Disney Quest ended up, you know, getting taken out just because it was very dated. You had to keep up with the times. Interventions East and West and Epcot, the new supposedly play pavilion that was supposed to go in the Wonders of Life pavilion, that never happened. So I guess now with the Epic Games and going kind of like digital in the theme park space, that is like the next generation. But as I said, I think they'll do it. It'll be there, but I don't think it's going to be one of those things where people will utilize it, but it won't take away from them actually physically going to the parks. I really doubt it.
Yeah, I agree. It'll be. I think if anything, I could see Universal. I mean, obviously they're already done it with Super Nintendo World, like going much deeper into this, and it would be would Disney try and see that, and like, are they going to try and emulate that? Because their stake in Epic Games is interesting because they're basically creating a Disney version of Fortnite,
right?
So it'd be their own characters. So I suppose they could take a Disney version of Fortnite and put it in there as it's still their IPs, but in this different realm, I suppose. So they could kind of put a different twist on it, maybe. But I think you'll probably see that.
Look what they're even doing with Disney Plus. I mean, they're coming out with all these POV ride-throughs of the attractions.
But see, here's the thing with that. Okay, I'm glad you brought that up, George. Is that something that you would want to go on Disney Plus and watch, or is that more of a YouTube thing? I feel like that's more of a YouTube thing.
Yeah.
Am I tripping?
I take it as a YouTube thing, but I think that's why Disney is doing it, because I feel like now they're trying to cancel out that YouTube thing, that if people do it, it's like, well, you can go on YouTube, you could watch someone else's perspective, but here, we'll give it to you, on the platform, as long as they don't give us the original Tiana's, like of how they did. I hope they improved it, But for me, I would still want to watch it on YouTube. I wouldn't pay for a Disney Plus subscription to go on and watch a POV of a Disney ride.
Well, and I also wonder what this means for the vlogger sphere. Because
I was actually going to bring up that point, because does Disney start claiming videos? Because technically, I'd be a little nervous if I was like Attraction 360, like some of these big channels that's what they do, and they do a very good job. I think their footage is actually better than usually Disney's POV footage, but they could. I don't know if they will, but they very well could.
Absolutely. Yeah, that is definitely a possibility. They're getting in that game now, and when they get in there, they're not going to want all that competition. But
at the same time, it makes me think too, like Disney Plus as a platform doesn't have a ton of content already in terms of new stuff. Like compared to Netflix, they don't come out with as many new shows. I kind of think it's them sort of padding the library of like, oh, we have this too. Because I agree with George. I don't think people are going to get a Disney Plus subscription to go watch POV footage when you can do it for free on YouTube. And a lot of people are already on YouTube as well. So it's I don't know if, I'm sure some people will. And now what would be kind of cool, you have the POV footage, but you maybe have some of the Imagineers that were behind it kind of giving commentary, kind of like they used to do with the movies a lot. Like you watch through it. And I remember, I think it was Daredevil and Ben Affleck. And during they were talking about it, he's just trashing the movie because it was such a bad movie. He's just going off about this and that. Like that would be interesting to get a perspective on a ride and say, oh, in this part we did this. Like, I think that would be cool. Like making it different than what you find on YouTube.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That to like differentiate between the Disney official version and like what you can find on YouTube would be really, really cool, I think.
Yeah.
Because no one else can do that but Disney. To have like Tony Baxter talking about Indiana Jones Adventure, or you can't do that. Like Attractions 360 can't emulate that. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it makes it worth it more, because you're not just getting that footage, you're getting like an exclusive thing. But when they just put a POV up there, and like you were saying, Jared, Attractions 360's videos are usually better.
They're beautiful. Like I don't know how they do it, because I've tried to take ride footage and it's not good. At least for mine, it's just shaky and terrible. I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, they're great. They've been in the game for a long time too. Those guys.
Well, most of them got like those. I'm sure they've got very high-end cameras. Like they've had a lot of practice. Like if anything, what Disney ought to do is just go contact those people and work out some sort of deal to get that footage and use it. They probably won't, but I think like they've mastered getting ride footage of that way that, even if you hired somebody exclusive at Disney to do it, they're not going to be as good as these channels have been doing this for like 10 plus years.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
But I just think to put a wrap on it, I think we very well could be in the midst of seeing more of these IPs that normally would have made their ways in theme parks, they may be doing their own thing. And it'll be very interesting to see how that sort of plays out, especially if Sonic can do it and it's successful, I think there's other IPs that could do it as well.
Let me ask you a quick question, Jared, before we pivot.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on because right now we're seeing a big, it's almost like a theme park like boom right now. Like the industry is like, with Universal ramping up, now we got Sega in the game, we got Mattel in the game, Disney's always been in the game, but we have all these companies now doing more and more and more theme park stuff. Does it worry you? And George, I'm curious your thoughts too on this. Does it worry you guys that like we're kind of in a almost like a housing bubble, or like where it'll pop eventually, and then a lot of these don't really stay afloat? Because I feel like there's a lot of growth in the industry right now, and I'm not sure is it gonna stay this way, or do you feel like it's vulnerable maybe in 15, 20 years?
I mean, who knows in 15, 20 years? I think the theme park growth has been rather you haven't seen this big giant just boom. It's kind of just been on an uptrend. So it hasn't been like you see bubbles in the stock market that are artificially inflated, or housing or whatever it is. Right. I feel like you're seeing the increase in the theme parks due to the demand of people wanting immersive experiences. I think it's going to continue to grow. And I think that's why I've been saying for a while, I mean, all it would take is an Apple, Amazon, one of these companies with massive pockets to be like, you know what, let's start our own sort of thing. If they have the IPs to do it and things, and not that they would start on the level of Disney or Universal, but they could start with a regional park and then grow it out from there. I mean, if you see an uptick in the economy as well, I mean, you could really see these things start taking off. The question would be when there's a pullback, do many of them survive? Because theme parks are expensive to run. And a lot of these companies may not have the infrastructure or I guess you would just say the overall market share to be able to survive a downtrend. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think, George?
Yeah, for me, I kind of mentioned it a little bit ago where, right now people, the travel industry right now for people traveling is not really that high right now. Things are expensive, people got their lives to take care of, and, they can't really go anywhere. And I feel like a lot of these companies that want to try to showcase that, what they got and how they could fit in the theme park space is by doing these pop-up things. And then I think, in time, as time, keeps moving, that they eventually grow on their own, or you can have a well-established theme park that says, hey, you know what, they're doing really good on their own. I wonder if they'd want to go partner 50-50, or if we buy them. It's sort of like you start out in a small little independent business, and then you just keep growing. Yeah. And then until if someone has the right deal, the right amount of zeros, they just might play ball.
Well, and here's an interesting thing too. You mentioned Apple, Jared. Mm-hmm. Apple could do a really cool Epcot style park, I think.
Apple would be interesting. I mean, if any company I mean, they could do their kind of brand image would be like a very futuristic kind of Epcot-ish version would be kind of cool.
Yeah. I could see them doing something where you go in there and it's like flying cars or something crazy, all the technology just on display. It'd be really dope.
A 200-foot geodesic half-bitten apple.
That works.
In the middle of the lake, just sitting there. Yeah, I mean, well, and if you look at Apple and even Amazon, they're doing so much in movies now, and they're not making really money off of it at this point. And that's a worry in Hollywood of if Apple and Amazon just decide tomorrow, we're not going to do this anymore. Hollywood's in trouble because they're bankrolling a ton of stuff. And if you look at Hollywood, I think that is a dying market in terms of just being centralized in Hollywood. I think it's going to open up to a lot more independent studios and things like that. You could make an argument, would it make more sense for a company like Apple or Amazon to see the trend in travel and theme parks and say, let's do that? Because look at how much money Disney makes, how much money Universal makes, and even Silver Dollar City, some of these regional theme parks are profitable in different markets. You could see a big company decide that they want to take a risk on it. I think I was talking to my wife about this. What you would end up seeing is probably what they did in the tech world, where all of a sudden you see a Disney exec here, a Universal exec, and they come in and say, let's say they're making $500,000 a year, and they go, "We'll pay you $1 million a year. Come over here with us." And
Well, that's what
Zuckerberg did to grow Facebook.
Yeah, or even like what happened back in '94 with DreamWorks when it was Katzenberg, Geffen, and Spielberg. They all joined forces to create DreamWorks and things like that. Now, Apple would be interesting as a park too because they could do some really cool technology. They could integrate the iPhone with the park experience in weird, crazy ways, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. I could definitely see that. I could definitely see the potential there for something like that. I'd be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, your hurdle is the cost.
For sure.
I mean, you talk about Epic Universe was $7 billion. Like, not that you would build a park on that scale as your first park, but it's just a lot of upfront money to do these things. But considering Amazon paid like billions for the Lord of the Rings to be able to do the Rings of Power that hasn't made money for them, I mean, it's not that big of a stretch to think they might pop up a little theme park here, try it out, and if they put it in a spot, maybe they don't want to put it in Orlando, but you put it somewhere where you think it could thrive in that market. Like, it's interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if you see it in the next 5 to 10 years of somebody taking a shot at it.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be really cool.
Yeah. All right, let's catch up on some messages, and then we'll move on to our next one here. Chera Parker says, "Happy birthday, Jared." Thank you. Viking Elder still waiting for you. LOL. Are you I'm trying to think. Somebody told me to stop by an Epic Universe in the kids' play area, and I went over there when I was there, but I didn't know who I was supposed to be looking for. I did. If that was you, I tried to go say hello, but I think you were busy or I wasn't sure. But there is a Viking that has summoned me to the Isle of Burke to say hello in the past. But Remy D says, "Happy 21st birthday." 22, but it's fine. I'm just aging slowly. Space Dave 2000 says, "Side question, will Superman bomb?" I want it to be good. I really do. I have not liked any of the trailers I have seen. The reactions thus far have been mixed. I don't feel great about it. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, it's interesting. Do you know what it's tracking this weekend, Jared? I thought I heard 200 million worldwide. Is that accurate still?
I think it's somewhere in that 150 to 200 range. Let me look up real quick. Box office tracking. This is showing 125 to 130 million.
I don't know the budget for this thing, but I feel like that's on the low end.
It's high. The budget's like 300 million plus from what I've heard.
Is it like 120 to 130 worldwide or just domestic?
This says domestic weekend forecast range is 125 to 150. Okay. So domestically, that's not bad. I don't know. I'm looking here. It doesn't give me any international numbers.
See, I was kind of optimistic about it with the first trailer. I'm like, okay, it's kind of like has a different style, and I'm thinking, okay, James Gunn, like that would probably be his style. But the more that the trailers kept on coming out, and I feel like they did an over amount of abundance of trailers for this thing, and it literally gives nothing on what even any of the story is. And I know a lot of times you don't really need that with the trailer, but you see him battling like multiple villains, and it's like, well, who is the real threat? It's like, what is supposed to be portrayed in this story? So the more I was actually seeing, the less interested I became, which I was thinking of going opening weekend, but I'm kind of waiting, not necessarily on the box office number, because I never base a movie off of the numbers. I usually go by of not even really someone's opinion, but more of, in Superman's case, like, what is the pace storyline? Is this a story that I could actually go to the theater and watch?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I've had my doubts about James Gunn being the writer-director to do Superman. Like, I like James Gunn's movies for the most part, but Superman is not Guardians of the Galaxy. And Superman was the first comic book I ever read. I love Superman. Superman is truth, justice, and the American way. I hope it's that. But what we see in the trailers too, it's like Superman's just getting his ass kicked the whole time. I'm like, I want to see Superman do Superman stuff. Like, he can get hit and things, but I don't want to see a whole movie of Superman just getting beat around for an hour and a half and like the thing where he's like yelling at Lois. I'm just like, that's not Superman. Like, Superman's like stoic and like not that he doesn't get mad, but he's not. I just don't see him getting into a shouting match with Lois. You know, it's just strange. Like, I don't know. Like, I like David Cornsweet. That's what I've seen. I don't like the suit, but we'll see. We're gonna go see it Saturday. I hope it's good. I really do. But if it doesn't do well, I don't know what Warner Brothers is going to do.
Well, that's going to be a big problem for WB because this is supposed to kind of jumpstart the whole DC thing again. And if this thing doesn't do well, they're building the new era of DC on this movie. This is the foundation. So this thing flops.
Well, and you can argue too, doing it now, if people have hit comic book movie fatigue in general, because Marvel came out with so much stuff, and obviously that's been on a downtrend. It's like the timing could be bad, along with if the movie's iffy. I don't know. I've heard very mixed. I've heard some people say it's great, and I've heard some people say they absolutely hated it, and it's just been all over the place. So I don't really know what to expect. I'm going into it expecting to be okay. Hopefully, I'm impressed the other way, but we will see.
I've seen similar. I've seen John Campea was raving about how he loved it, but then I've heard a lot of other people say, "Oh, wasn't it great?" You know,
I saw Campia liked it, but I saw what's it? Johns?
Jeremy Johns.
Jeremy Johns. He hated it.
Wow.
I was like, okay, like, and he's like, his movie takes are usually kind of like same barometer as mine a lot of times, and I was like, okay. And then I've seen people say they were gonna hate it and they liked it, so it's, I don't know, it's hard to know where it's gonna be, but I do hope for a good Superman. All I remember was I was so hyped for Superman Returns back in the day, and I wanted to love that movie because I watched all the like behind the scenes stuff and everything, and it took me like 3 years to finally admit that movie was not good, and I couldn't get around to explaining. And my buddies would just be like, "Well, how does he fly when he's been stabbed with kryptonite and he flies an entire like island?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I can't. Yeah, there's really no defense of that. Considering in the other Superman, it's like he sees kryptonite and he immediately is just weak. And I'm like, yeah, that's a valid point. Like, I see what you're saying there, but we'll see. Well, if you guys all see it, we'll talk about it in the next one because I will probably want to break that down because I'm very curious about it. But Tuckerverse says congratulations, thank you. Javi Perez says happy birthday, bro. Thank you, Javi. And then Tuckerverse says happy birthday. Thank you, Tuckerverse. Skywalker Brian says it's about how much capital investment they want to attract their customers. I think talking about the theme park stuff to either gain the larger or smaller IP franchises. Look at Peppa Pig, large IP for kids, but not so much for adults.
Right.
Yeah, and Peppa Pig's a good one. I mean, that's kind of the Universal Kids Park sort of model is the Peppa Pig type parks, which when our kids were little, like they loved that park. Like that was a very cool park.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good stuff about that. And here's the other thing too that's kind of interesting, right? We did a video on OG55 recently about Disney adults and how Disney is sort of like getting more into that Disney adult market with like the bars and like that childless millennial crowd, right? As we see Disney sort of like kind of move a little bit away from like the kids stuff and lean more into like the 21 and over, the bars, the lounges and all that stuff, we're seeing Universal like, well, we're going to have a whole park now for kids. Yeah. So I'm curious how that dynamic plays out too. And if the demo changes with that stuff.
I mean, I talked about, I'm putting the video out tomorrow, but you could see, I mean, I've said for a while, I could see those kids resorts coming to Orlando because they're not big. I think the kids park in Texas like $500 million to build, which isn't nothing, but Epic Universe being $7 billion, they can build them on the cheaper. Very simple rides, but then you would have a dedicated, like you don't have to use your existing theme park space for kiddie attractions. You can literally have an entire park for it and then continue to build on what you're doing. And then if they use those as feeder systems, say they go into Texas and they're like, wow, this is a really cool park. And they're like, hey, we've got this whole thing in Orlando. We have a very similar park. You could see a lot of families, say you got little kids and older kids, and then the parents want to go to Epic as well. Like you could see a great mix there, and they have the IPs now to do it.
Right.
Yes, and that's what I was saying earlier when you ducked out. I think it would be better to start it in a resort before kind of separating, just because with a Universal Kids Park, that's great. But when you have that only being the only thing in a state that really isn't going to draw too much tourism in that market, and it's only going to drive for the young kids and young kids only, I'm curious to see how many people are actually going to travel there, as to oppose it being more of a Texas locals park.
I think it's gonna be a Texas thing.
I think so too. I don't think you see, I mean, it's a 1-day park probably. So it's like, I think they would put them up in places like very similar to the Halloween Horror Night concept of those houses of like touristy destinations already. And you can just say, oh, let's go to the kids park for a day. Like you're not going to spend a week at the kids resort. Like you're going to spend a day, maybe 2 days in the hotel. But I look at it probably as a test run for them to see how it does. And if it goes over well, I mean, they have the space in Epic. They've got 2 or 3 different places they could put a theme park on some level. They've got like 30, 40 acres. And I think the Kids Park Texas is like 38 acres, something along those lines. So not huge either. So I could see them do it, especially if Disney, like you said, they're going the Disney adult route.
Right.
The kids market is not that Disney does not have that stranglehold like they used to. Universal could definitely feel like they could make a break into that market a little bit. And especially if they put Nintendo. They don't have it in the kids resort in Texas, but if you put Nintendo into a kids park, like Yoshi's and things like that. Like,
oh man.
That would
that's the thing. I think it's interesting, right? Because Disney is kind of, I don't want to say they're abandoning kids, because I don't think that's fair, but I do think they are shifting, you know, and they see this demographic of these diehard, almost religious Disney adults, right? They see Disney as like this religion almost, and they're like, yeah, we're going to go all in on that, you know. And the kids stuff is sort of left, you know, even here in Anaheim, like we had Bugs Land, which was like a kid land. It was very much a kid area, and they got rid of that for Avengers Campus. You know, and it's that slow kind of move towards the older, you know.
Yeah. It's a very interesting little dynamic shift that could take place. But I think the next 5 to 10 years are going to be very interesting to see not only what Universal is doing, what Disney does, and how does Disney react. Like if those regional parks are successful for Universal, does Disney see that and decide they need to do that too? Like that's what's interesting is how they'll react to it. And then do you see a lot of these big brands get into these regional types of sphere? And this goes on, Christopher here says, what are your thoughts on Six Flags being closed and repurposed as new regional parks? I don't know much about Six Flags, but I would assume Six Flags, if Universal and these other companies start these regional things, Six Flags could be one that gets really hit.
Well, yeah, I agree. And here's the other thing, too, that's kind of interesting is Vegas, from what I've heard, their casinos are not doing so great right now.
I've heard that as well.
Right? It's waning. So there might be a lot of interest for Vegas as a city to sort of attract companies. They already have Universal, right? I wouldn't be surprised. What if Disney wants to get into that? Now, Disney's a little different. Like you obviously can't have a Disney princess thing over there. That doesn't fit the vibe, right? Yeah, you know. But like maybe you could do like an MCU standalone themed experience. That would be pretty dope, dude.
You could.
If they did like MCU or even like Star Wars, like a little older. You have the alcohol, all that kind of stuff mixed in. I mean, that would be pretty dope, dude. And I wouldn't be surprised, especially if Universal is really successful with his Horror Unleashed. You might see Disney move in there with some sort of like, I don't think it'll be a park, but it might be like a standalone venue similar to like what Universal.
I don't know. I think that would be kind of hot watching them take Jello shots off of Jasmine's belly button.
There you go.
You walk around and be like, Cinderella had a rough night at the casino. It's like, oh no. I mean, they do have the opportunity to make a better Star Wars attraction than Galaxy's Edge. So I mean, you could redo it and just be like, oh, it includes the prequels. Like this is cool. Like I would be on board. I would check that out.
You could do a lot. You could even do like a themed hotel to something, some Disney IP themed hotel. You can have like a little mini attraction. You could theoretically put like a Star Tours kind of attraction in a themed hotel for sure. You know?
Oh yeah.
Like a simulator thing.
I think the Star Cruiser would have done much better in Vegas.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Well, I always said too, the idea of the Star Cruiser wasn't a bad idea. The price point was too high, and the way they presented it, and like you had to be doing something at all times. Like you had no relaxation about it. I always felt like I still think a Star Wars themed hotel would work. And you have maybe this optional LARPing aspect to it if you want to do it, but just being in a hotel themed after like the Death Star or something like that would be awesome. Like,
dude,
you're just staying in like a cool room, but just having the whole other aspect to it. I think I kind of always thought it didn't have enough repeatability at that price point to sustain itself for that long. But
I think if they would have opened it in Vegas, I think honestly it would still be going, and maybe not as high, and drop that price point down.
Yeah,
you gotta drop it. Yeah, you gotta drop it. And the you're right though. You're right though. It was an interesting concept. A galactic cruise line. That's pretty dope. You know what I'm saying? But for the $6,000 or whatever they were asking for it, no.
For 2 nights. Yeah,
and then that's the other thing too. Like what Jared was saying. Like when I go on vacation, I want a vacation. You know, if I'm going on a cruise, I want to chill. I want to relax. I don't want to like go on like this crazy like Star Wars like recon mission. Like
that's why I knew that thing was doomed from the start. When I was at D23 and they were giving off the concept, I'm thinking this is never going to work. This is never going to work. Not in a Disney theme park environment. It would work anywhere else, but you place that in an intermixed theme park resort complex.
Well, and here's the thing that I've said before when it comes to like a 5th gate at Walt Disney World. People only have so much time and people only have so much money, right? So you're adding another 3 days to that already week and a half that they're spending in Orlando, and you're charging them another $6,000 or $5,000, whatever that was. Yeah. It's a big ask, and I just think that people just weren't willing to do it. And like you were saying, George, if you had it in a separate location like Vegas, where it's not tacked on to an already week-long vacation, it might have maybe have done a lot better, you know?
And that's also something that would have maybe generated more, like sort of how HHN is now moving to Chicago, where maybe they could have had a different Star Wars location in a different city. You know, so you could have had one in Vegas, you could have one in Chicago, you could have one in Seattle, you could have one in Louisiana, you could have one in Michigan. So like one's based off of Naboo, one's based off of Hoth. You could have multiple, you could have it set in the prequels, the sequels, the originals. I think if Disney would have thought of that, of what industries are now looking at now, I think that the turnaround would have been much different.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the idea was cool. Like the concept, the worry that I have as well, I think is like it probably scares them off from doing other things ambitious because of the failure of that, even though they won't want to, they don't say publicly it was a failure. But
now, Jared, real quick, I just want not to interrupt you, but your mic is off. Just want to let you know.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Well,
your mic is off.
Okay, is that good?
Yeah, you're good now.
Okay. I randomly said to my camera, everything went off. I don't know what happened. Sorry, my program here has a mind of its own. Yeah, I think that the ambition of that probably scared them off from doing other things just as ambitious as that, potentially, unfortunately. But I think doing things like that, I think, are a good thing to try. But the price,
absolutely.
I think the price point was just kind of nuts on that one. But
now Flamingo Ghost has an interesting comment. He said, Vegas is dead and boring. Nobody has money to throw away. The nickel and dime you more than Disney does. Now, here's the thing. I actually like Vegas a lot. If you're single, Vegas is awesome. You can go clubbing, go to the bar hop, do all that stuff. But Flamingo is right, though, in the sense that they do nickel and dime you. You go to those clubs and you get a beer, it's going to cost you Disney prices.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
What I'm saying? I mean, it's insane how expensive it is. And right now, at a time when people are trying to save money, Vegas is like the last thing people are going to do. You know?
Well, and you also have too, and I know this from my sister-in-law. She works for an Anheuser-Busch distributor. The younger generation is not drinking alcohol. Like they're not into that whole life like party, and it's like for me, Vegas. I don't like Vegas. I've been like 3 times. It's not my vibe. Like I'm more chill. I've gone for like a day or two, and by the end of the second or third day, I'm like I'm ready to go home.
Yeah.
But they do. I mean, if that trend continues, I mean, they're going to have to try and do other things than just offer essentially what Vegas has been known for, which is also interesting about like Branson, Missouri, where it's about Silver Dollar City. That whole, it's a touristy town, but they were built off of having like old country singers come there and like kind of like have those Vegas residencies where they would just have like Jim Stafford and Shochi Tabuchi and all these guys. They're a place where I could see them trying to lure in some sort of bigger name to set up a regional type thing there, because it's in the Midwest. It's right in the middle of everything there. You've got Johnny Morris money, who owns Bass Pro, and he's invested a ton. They're trying to get a PGA Tour spot there, so they're building like all these golf courses and resorts because he wants like to have Tiger Woods and these guys come through there. So that's a place in the Midwest that could be very interesting to change that from being like this country, old school country town to something different. And I think Vegas could fall into that as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They're going to have to kind of reimagine their whole business model, I think, to kind of adjust to the times a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Like you were saying, the younger generation, they're not drinking like we used to.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I went I remember, I know a story. I went one time in Vegas and I went with a group of friends. I was like 22 and I was annoyed because we were going to leave the next morning at like 7 in the morning and it's like midnight and nobody's in the room. I don't know where anybody's at. I'm like, what in the world? So somebody calls me and they were like, they had drank too much and they were in some casino and they're like, can you just come get me? And I was like, oh my gosh. So I go over there and I probably rescue them. There's a group of like 5 or 6 dudes hovering around them. I was like, oh geez. So I literally at 3 in the morning, I had to carry them down the main strip to get them back to the room. My buddy who was there with me, I couldn't find. He walks in at like 6 a.m. He'd been gambling all night. And I was like, I hate Vegas. Like, no, you couldn't get anybody together. Finally, everybody came together at like 7 a.m. And I'm like, this is just, it is not anything I've ever, even in my younger days, I was like, I would just rather hang out and if I'm going to drink anything, just chill out and just not be in this crazy atmosphere. But yeah,
it's wild. It
also
really,
used to be
really
way
wild.
cheaper back then too. I remember the price difference. I went back like 10 years later. I'm like, when did they jack the prices up of everything here? But
It's crazy. Like, do young people even go clubbing anymore? Like, I don't know. Is that even a thing anymore?
I don't really
know.
honestly think young people do anything anymore.
Well, I didn't like clubs when I was younger and went with my friends, but I don't know. That's a good question. I would imagine if they're not drinking as much, I would assume not as many clubs, but I don't know.
Probably not. Yeah.
Christopher Pietra says, what are your thoughts on... Oh, I already did that one. I was trying to fix this one. Flamingo Goals says, when Chapek laid off Imagineers, a huge amount went to Universal and other studios and parks.
That's true.
It's very, very true.
Yeah, that whole like Lake Nona thing really shuffled a lot.
Oh, yeah. Skywalker Brian says, want to talk about flopping not for the 3rd time. Marvel's first family for the F4, the first steps, and that Fox screwed up the past 2 times, to be honest. Yeah, those weren't the best. I mean, hey, I like Jessica Alba when she was Miss the Invisible Girl, but those movies were not the best, I will say. That's another one I have a question about, the Fantastic Four movie. I don't know how I feel about that.
That's a sin, though, making Jessica Alba the Invisible Girl.
I agree.
She's way too fine to be invisible.
And by the way, the guy that played Dr. Doom there, he recently just died, like Julian McMahon, I think. Yeah. I just saw that the other day.
Yeah, like mid-50s, really young.
Yeah.
Way too young.
Yeah, that was I did see that one. Skyward Brian also said, remember Iger said that $17 billion was going to be invested in Disney World for the next 10 years to create more jobs and careers, economic growth opportunities, and the Disneyland Forward project got $1.9 billion for 10. Yeah, I mean, lots of I think Disney's in a fortification mode. It's trying to maintain more what they have, but they are investing a lot, undoubtedly.
Yeah.
All right, let's move. Let's talk. You guys want to talk about Halloween Horror Nights?
Yeah, let's do it.
Good.
Got some good stuff. There's a lot of, and there's a house that I care nothing about to check out that they announced today.
Yeah, I never saw that movie, but people talk about it. It seems like people.
I've seen clips. It's not a movie for me. I will put it that way. I saw one clip and I'm like, I'm good. I don't care. But they did announce a Terrifier house, which was, I think, a pretty big rumor out there that this was going to be coming. I think is it coming to Hollywood as well?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, it's coming to Hollywood.
Yeah.
Is it? Okay.
So nothing can compare you for the grisly haunted house based on all 3 of Damien Leon's Terrifier films. Try your luck against the sadistic Art the Clown and his twisted fun house. Witness Art's gleefully grotesque handiwork of torture. You'll be left literally dripping with terror and drenched with fear. That is some descriptive language.
Oh, yeah.
It's a whole new level of gore. Oh.
Universal does not play. They do not play.
They do not. I can't say I'm excited for this house. I am excited for Halloween Horror Nights in general. But Terrifier, like I was telling my wife, she's like, what is it? I'm like, don't look into it. It's like I saw one scene. I'm not going to describe it, but I was like, dear God, like why? Why would you make this film?
Oh my gosh, I'm not even like into that genre of movies. Yeah,
I'm not either. Some of that stuff, I'm just.
I mean, if they want to get really realistic of what the house how it would interpret the films, I'm expecting it to be very bloody, very gory, and have a very distinct smell.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I'll go through it, but I'll probably just come out of it being like, I don't know about that one. But they did. I'll try and find. They had some. I'll tell you one house that sounds absolutely terrifying. Is
My ex-wife's.
Yeah, it's George's ex-wife. I was like, I feel bad that George had to live that as long as it's this one, Grave of the Flesh. Basically, you go to hell in this house.
Oh.
It says, well, oh, there we go. Is everybody still there? Okay. My screen went black for a second. It says, welcome to your funeral where things are about to go from bad to worse. You'll enter your grave and then pass through the gates of the underworld where flesh eaters who feed on the dead will be waiting for you. Get lost in their cavernous underground world where an endless gauntlet of flesh-eating creatures will haunt you mercilessly for all eternity.
Dang, that's kind of a dope concept, though. I like that.
It is. I feel like people are just going to come out of the house, like, just change. Like, I went in there a different man than I came out, and I need to rethink my life choices.
Life-changing. Now they're not doing the weekend house. And they got, like, in Hollywood, they had that last year. I guess I don't see that.
They had it for 2 years in a row, and thank God they got rid of it this year.
They had it 2 years ago in Orlando, but they didn't have it last year. I know that much.
Yeah, that was my least favorite house, to be honest. I didn't.
That was before I went. This is my third year going to Halloween Horror Nights. So my wife went to that one. She said it was just weird. She was like, I didn't really know what to think of it, really. They also have, let's see, Monsters of the North. That isn't loading for me for some reason. Oh,
Monsters.
Hold on, my computer's freezing up again.
No worries.
Too many tabs. It'll fix. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're coming in perfect.
That's good. That's good. So this Monsters of the North is like a haunted Viking village type concept, I think, which I think is pretty cool. Like, I like Viking stuff. They had that last year with the haunted museum. They had like a Viking ship aspect to that one, which was kind of cool. So I think the concept, if my screen will ever, gosh, I got to upgrade my computer. I don't know what it is. Every time we live stream, this thing freezes up on me when I close out tabs. That's not a great thing when you're live streaming. Oh, geez. Okay. If I go blank, I'll be right back. I don't know if it's going to pop me out here or not, but
sure.
I can't currently pull up anything at the moment.
We lost.
Oh, there is. So we'll see. I look. I've said before, for those of you watching that are new to me, I don't like horror movies, and I don't even really like Halloween that much. And I went to Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios Hollywood back in October, and I had like the best time of my life. I absolutely loved it. So I'll definitely be going back this year. I'm really looking forward to it. These events are really, really cool, and I can see why it kind of has. What'd you say, George? Almost like a cult-like following. There's so much energy around this HHN kind of.
Yeah,
I
would say it has definitely like a cult following where it almost becomes like a thing where even though it's for Halloween, but people don't really take it for Halloween. It's just an event that's going on at Universal that it gives you the creeps, it gives you the chills, it gives you the suspense,
right.
The music, the lights around you. It's just
okay. Sorry, I'm back now. My stinking thing went. Okay, sorry. My apologies to everybody. I don't know if that messed up anything.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. Flamingo Goals says here this Disney adult will be at Universal Studios Hollywood next week, and maybe HHN this year as well. By the way, your episode on Disney adults was great, even though you got crap for it. Yeah. That's how you know you make a good video, when you get crap for it.
That's true.
I've
noticed anytime I talk about, I did a video talking about like touring plans. Did a video. They had an article talking about the Disney attendance being down, and then people were in the comments calling me a liar. I'm like, I'm not claiming it. They are. I'm just relaying the information. To you
oh my gosh. And we've talked about it. Like also the speculation thing. I get that all the time too. People will say, you're spreading rumors. No, I'm speculating.
It's so, dude, speculating is so much fun. I did a video on that we talked about the last live stream of that potential Creature from the Black Lagoon water ride type thing.
Yeah.
And somebody was like, I'm spreading false. I'm like, it's not rumor. It's speculation on stuff I think is cool. And it has been rumored to come. But yeah, I don't know. It is what it is there.
Yeah, that's funny.
let's see. I had another. 7-2 Nismo says poop in the maze smell.
There you go.
Yeah, that one.
It's like that Texas Chainsaw Massacre smell. That maze was crazy.
Yeah, that was very
that
distinct. That smell was very distinct. That makes me wonder because the smell was so real, but it's almost like
I turned to George and I'm like, George, is that you? That was good.
The bathroom, George.
Yeah, I mean, it literally smelled like rotting flesh.
Ugh.
Yeah, it was gnarly. It was gnarly, but it was cool though. Like I was like going through like this, but it was cool though because it adds to like the theme. Like they didn't like miss a beat with that maze. It was crazy,
dude. The details on it are so crazy. So the one I was talking about, this Galkan Monsters of the North says, in a remote northern village, a wicked being rises from the dead, bringing a horde of monsters and demons from the fjords to wreak havoc on the townspeople. You face icy horned, winged, and wolfish fiends and that gradually merge into one giant horror, and then you'll try to escape the belly of the beast.
Nice.
That sounds kind of intense.
Whoever they hired to do these descriptions needs to get a raise because these sound dope.
Well, and I think my wife pointed this out. I don't know which house it was, but a lot of these have the same people behind it. So I think the Galkan house is the same one. The same guy was behind that one. Was behind the. There was a Fisherman's Wharf one a couple of years ago. I can't remember the name of it, but it was a really good house.
Wow.
I can't remember what it was called though, but you see a lot of these same people behind certain ones. So like this one, I'm like, okay, like especially these original IP ones that can get real creative with.
Yeah.
I really like those. I'm curious what they'll do with like Fallout. I think that's a house that has a lot of potential.
Absolutely.
Undoubtedly. And then let's see if they got some more here. Let's go. Oh, this one, El Artista, seems kind of rad. I'll bring that up. It is. I cleared out a bunch of tabs holding it by. It says first original house here, but this one is a Spanish haunting. They don't have the description of it here. Basically, it's this guy that lives in a haunted house of paintings, and they come alive or something. I think is what it was.
Oh, that's sick, dude! Almost like a horror Encanto or something.
A little, yeah, kind of. It almost has that Encanto looking house to it as well.
Yeah,
but no, I'm really excited for Halloween Horror Nights this year.
Yeah,
I don't now. Is there any different ones? I haven't kept up with Hollywoods. Have they announced ones that are specific to Hollywood that aren't coming to Orlando?
The only I'm not as privy to it. I know we're getting the Five Nights at Freddy like you guys.
Mm-hmm.
No more Weekend. We don't have the Weekend anymore. George, I think you did a show with Conductor today. Did you guys talk about that? The houses over in Hollywood?
Yeah, so today they announced Terrifier. We're getting, what was the other one that they confirmed? Friday the 13th.
Okay.
We're getting, and then there's still a few more that they haven't announced yet, which a lot of people are speculating it's going to be WWE, and they're going to announce that at the mid, what was it, the mid Scream Fest or whatever it's called, the Midsummer.
I've heard a lot of rumblings of that as well. I don't know what to think of it necessarily.
So is Orlando's already done? Did they announce everything?
Oh. Did we lose him?
I
think we might have lost him. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay,
yeah,
I think we lost him. Yeah, WWE though, I can see the potential with that IP as a maze or as a house, but I don't know. It's one of those things where it can kind of go either way. I don't know.
Yeah. And a lot of people are like hyped up for that, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm curious because I think it's going to be based off of
my computer. Oh, I should have cleaned it. Okay, I did an update. Okay, I'm going to quit bringing up tabs because apparently this is causing havoc on my computer here. Yeah, the WWE one's interesting. I don't know much about wrestling anymore, but I used to watch it in like the late 90s.
Yeah.
I don't know much about it nowadays. Other than it would be scared to see a Hulk Hogan house where he's like, "Welcome to hell, brother," and you're just like, "Oh my gosh."
I used to have in the in the 80s, back when it was WWF.
Oh yeah.
I used to have like the figures as a kid and stuff, like the
Mhm.
Hulk Hogan and then the Andre the Giant, all that stuff. But I haven't followed it in years.
I
Yeah.
think it's going to be, if they do the WWE, it's going to be based off of the wrestler. And I forget because I used to watch it. I haven't
Roman
watched it
Reigns.
recently. What was it?
Roman Reigns.
No, it's actually a wrestler. He just recently passed like a year ago, where he had like that split personality.
The Braum guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see. That one can go either way. It has potential, but I can also see it being kind of whack.
Yeah.
We'll kind of see, you know?
I mean, I personally would love to see like a Ric Flair, Macho Man, Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, like get them in a house, just let them like a haunted wrestling ring or something. That could be kind of cool. Maybe.
Absolutely.
I'd be down for that.
The Undertaker. That's what
Undertaker would be like the best. Yeah. I mean, that one right there would be like the best thing to do with it.
Undertaker and Kane.
Yeah. That would actually be pretty cool. Although they probably wouldn't. Well, they might do it now still. That, especially Kane. Kane would make a lot of sense to do that.
Our buddy Rogue is in the house. What's up, Rogue Attraction?
What's up, Rogue?
Rogue
He
is in
says,
the house.
congrats, dude. Thank you, Rogue. Skywalker Brian says, Jared, Orlando isn't done yet. Bray Watt's legacy of the horrors of WWE and the crew of the Wyatt Six. Undertaker did have a house back in the day. Oh, okay.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I knew Orlando wasn't done. They've got like, what, 2 more houses to announce? I think. At
And
least.
I think it's the same for Hollywood. I think there's 2 more.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, once we get all those announcements, I figure we can do a real big HHN stream and get Slimer in here and talk about it, because I think a lot of the concepts are the Fallout one. I think it'd be really cool, and that what they're going to do with Five Nights at Freddy. I don't think it's going to be a house from what they've said. I think it's going to be some sort of like, I think George, you'd said like a maze maybe.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Like, would it be like a scare zone, kind of?
I think it would be more opened.
Yeah.
I think that it would be more open in the environment of like inside the building. So you kind of have to maybe almost like kind of like an escape room kind of thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That could be really cool.
Yeah.
Flamingo Goals says if they did it with all the dark and or evil wrestlers, it might work. The Undertaker would be cool. Yeah. And then Skywalker
100%.
Brian says the original house you were thinking of was Dead Man's Pier. That's what it was. Winter's Wake. It was done by the same creative who did that in Graveyard Games. Okay. I knew they had some of the same one. That was a really cool house. Like, that was one I just was not expecting. I was like, oh, that one's really awesome here. But, all right, let's move on. You guys, anything else you want to talk about HHN?
No, I think I got everything out of that.
I just wanted to talk about how I not looking forward to Terrifier at all.
Yeah, no. Yeah. I had no idea there were 3 of those movies. That's crazy to me.
I had heard of them, and then one night I was like, what are these movies about? I saw some clips of it on Twitter, and I saw like 20 seconds. I was like, I like sleeping at night. I'm good. Like, it's not like, I don't get grossed out really. There's certain things. I never could get into Game of Thrones that much because I don't know what it is. Like a real, like, I don't like negative vibes, I guess. I don't know if I just more of like, I would much rather watch something that's fun or funny. Or like you ever seen The Gentleman on Netflix?
No.
That is a fantastic show.
Okay.
It's a Guy Ritchie show, but it's this Duke, and he gets into like selling weed and stuff like that because his dad did. It's I won't spoil it. It's really, really good, and it's kind of funny. It's not like too serious all the time, but it is one of the best shows I've seen in the last like 3 or 4 years. So
nice.
that one's on Netflix, and then I've heard really good things about like Mobland. It's got Pierce Brosnan and Tom Hardy as like Irish gangsters. I'm like,
I love stuff like that. Netflix had a movie with the Irishman, I think it was years ago.
Oh yeah.
And it was like a 7-hour movie, but it was I'm joking.
Oh, I do remember that. Yeah,
it was long, but it was really good. I love that movie.
Well, apparently awesome. Pierce Brosnan plays, and Helen Mirren is his wife, so it's got a great cast. And then Pierce Brosnan plays this mob boss that I guess is like just evil. And I'm like, I have a hard time picturing Pierce Brosnan just being like a bad dude, but I like the idea of it.
Yeah, that's dope. He will forever be James Bond to me.
Oh yeah, right. Or the dreamy guy from Mrs. Doubtfire.
There you go. Exactly.
I found that movie. I was rooting for Pierce Brosnan. I'm like, listen, I can't root against James Bond. Like, I get it, Robin Williams, but you're dressing like a grandma here. I don't know what's going on here, but I like Pierce. Like, I'm. This is a strange one. And Skywalker Brian here says, so technically, it is a house without the official acknowledgement of it. I think he's talking about Five Nights at Freddy's. Hollywood is still rumored to be a poltergeist, scarecrow, terror tram for Blumhouse again. And their SZs and entertainment left. Oh, Scare Zones entertainment left. Okay. Express Pass for HHN. They did announce that, didn't they? There is Express Pass for HHN. I do know that much. But we'll save some of this. We'll do a whole HHN stream about all that stuff, go with all the details of it. But yeah, they did announce some ticket sales. And I know for the Premier Pass holders, you could reserve your dates as of today when you want to go. So they're getting closer to announcing everything, but I guess we'll just hit on, we talked about this before, Tom Sawyer Island, Rivers of America, all that is officially closed for good. And Disney didn't waste any time putting up, is this weird to you guys, this random door?
It's really weird. Like, what is that? Does that go to like another dimension, or like is a portal to some
I
weird?
thought of Wayne's World when he keeps opening the door and he's just like, there's just dudes fighting in a warehouse. He's like, we always wanted to do that. Like, I feel like if you open that door, you're just going to go into a world of who knows what you're going to find in there. Just like, you can
random. It doesn't even like, like how they put stuff up and it matches the surroundings.
Yeah.
Like it'll just like fit like that. Yeah, that just doesn't even fit anywhere.
But it's like you can just hop that little fence if you really wanted to. There's nothing that stopped you. It's just weird. I'm just like, is that gonna, like, if it storms, that thing's not going to stay up?
No,
I would assume. Like,
that's bizarre.
You know
when you were like like when we were kids and we had like Legos and you'd make like random things like that, like a door.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's what
it's just a random door, like just a door in the middle of.
Like, why not?
Just put a door there. Like, where's it go? It's fine. Just put a door right there. We had extra doors. We're just laying around. But talk about messing with the theming of it all. But here's what I was going to ask you guys. So we've given our thoughts on this, and we'll wait and see how it is. But I find it interesting, and I can't remember who said this on Twitter X. You had Muppet Vision 3D close down and Rivers of America, which is a very historic part of Legacy to Walt, like opening day stuff with Disney World. And there was just no celebration of these things. Like, there was no closing day merchandise. There was no special events. It was just, you got 30 days notice. This is closing down and we're moving on. I don't quite understand why. Because if you look at Universal, they already have merchandise for Rip Ride Rocket. And that's not even like a beloved attraction. Like, they have going away merchandise for that. They did the same thing for Poseidon's Fury. I don't understand. It seems to me that they're giving up this vibe as if they were just closing down a playground and we're just putting something else in here and like, what's the big deal? Like, not this acknowledgement of like, this is a very special area of the park for many people. And I don't feel like they're treating these things with the, I don't know what you would call it, compassion or empathy, I guess, on some level. Like, I just don't understand it.
I think Disney has sort of like, it's almost like they don't know what to do, right? So they're scared. They're kind of like they're scared what the fans are going to say, whether they do it or don't do it. So they kind of like, okay, we'll just shut it down and we'll just move on, Yeah. Which is sad, which is honestly sad because I mean, I think it would be kind of cool to have some sort of like, I guess you would call it going away party style thing with like shirts and like, I was here for the last day or whatever. Like, that'd be a lot of fun. I know out here in California, when the last day of the Hollywood Tower hotel, they did that. They let you ride it in the dark with nothing, I believe, or something. They had like a special thing, like the last day, and they used to do stuff like that. And I think Disney now, I think they're just so freaked out to like make anyone mad and like, and like, so they're like, they're skating around things. But sometimes when you do that, you end up doing more damage.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I wonder on some level if they're worried, like if they did that and you see this giant outpouring, kind of like Muppet Vision, where a bunch of people show up and it almost brings to light that this change is, I think there's some people that are excited for the new land going in here, but I think at the same time a lot of people are upset this is leaving. But it's like you're I think acknowledging the importance of what it was, but like being confident in your vision. Like, we understand this, but here's what we're going to do. But I feel like they're just trying to get this closed as quickly as they can to move on and act like it wasn't there or something. I don't think that sends a really good message, especially if you're dealing with a part of the park like this. It's I agree with you. I think it just almost makes it worse for them by not acknowledging like the gravity of the decision to change all this stuff and giving people like I think the whole day was like 30-day notice too. I'm like, you can't give people enough time to like, if they want to go, it's just like, we're going to close this down as quickly as we can. And, you know, obviously they're going to start construction right away, but especially as much money as Disney likes to make and milk everything they can for money, it's also surprising on that end they wouldn't do it for merchandise.
You would think, yeah. I know, that is surprising. And they didn't have anything special for Muppets either? It was kind of like, wow, that's wild.
No, they had I mean, basically it was a fan thing. Like a bunch of people showed up and basically like, I think technically it was WWNT had brought a couple of the voice actors, and I don't know who invited Jim Henson's daughter, but she was there. But it was a very organic thing that just kind of popped up around
I think that's the route that it's usually going for. I feel like Disney is, again, like the fans are like doing it themselves, so we don't really have to put any really effort to it because the fans kind of create their own kind of send off the way they want to do it. Like at the very end for the last show of Muppet Vision 3D, everyone in unison outside was singing Rainbow Connection.
Yeah,
you know, but that was amongst the fans. That was their decision to do so. So, and I think with Tom Sawyer Island and the Rivers of America, of how they had people go on the last boat ride, and they had cast members waving in multiple directions wherever you're going with the Mickey hands and everything. I think that was, I guess, in Disney's mind, like what they wanted to do. And I do agree that I feel like that they didn't really want to hype up the send-off.
Mm-hmm.
It was basically just kind of keep it low key. However anybody wants to celebrate it, let's just get it done, get it closed. We made this announcement almost a year ago at D23. People are aware of it. You know, if you're not here by now, then, you know, you can't necessarily wait for everyone to be able to go. So it's like you have to make a move sometime, because then people would be complaining to say, oh, I thought Damaro said that this was, you know, shovels in the ground, dirt is moving. You know, it's like, so now that they are actually moving, it's like, I can see, like, again, where Disney's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place with the fans.
I'm curious too, like usually when Disney replaces like an attraction, like for example, we lost some parking lot for the Indiana Jones adventure out here at Disneyland. So when you're going through the queue, there's a part of the queue, like in the room where they're kind of showing you the ride vehicle, and it can be bumpy and giving you the warning spiel. If you look behind you in like the rafters, you can see the old parking sign, like tucked in the back. They always, and same with our Pooh attraction. You can see the Country Bears, the mounted heads. When you go through one scene, you look behind you, they're there. So I wonder what like homage they'll pay to the river when Cars moves in.
Yeah, I would assume there'd be something. Yeah,
I hope so.
Well, and it's like, it's just one of those things where, I mean, this already had the issue when DiMauro did announce this. Didn't they do it the next day where they said, by the way, this is replacing this part, like the rivers, like they did the whole.
Yeah, they announced it that Monday.
Yeah, like the whole rollout of this was already them very much like, we know people aren't going to necessarily like this. And I feel like it would be better to acknowledge like the importance of it, but present your reasons as to why. Like, and if it is the fact that the rivers they need a lot of repair, they don't want to spend the money on that, like, just be honest. Just be like, hey, this is the issue we're looking at here. We understand, like, we love what, you know, Walt's vision and all these, like, at least I think an acknowledgement of that and like understanding the gravity of changing things like this, but it just comes across to me as very just like, whatever. Like, and I think that's what makes people maybe more mad than, even if they disagree with the decision, at least they could be upfront about it and be like, here's our reasonings. We recognize the importance of it, but this is what we're going to do.
Honestly think no matter what they were to say, people wouldn't care. I think
people would be mad regardless.
Race, I think we're just too damn stubborn for our own ways to even hear anything out in social media. Well, like in that capacity.
I think if you take social media out of it, it would probably go over. But I agree. Social media, like, it's never satisfied, so it's just going to be angry about everything all the time. But yeah, it's just I'm sad to see it go. And Flamingo Gold said, he says, I don't get why they could not put this ride somewhere else. I've only ever been to Disney World once, but there isn't a ton of land. Why there? Why take away? Why not just add?
Now the one thing that did kind of DeMauro, the way he said it, because OG says it, where DeMauro kind of gets away with his wording, where when they say that this is going to be the biggest expansion in Magic Kingdom history, which it very well is, it's adding more acreage, but they still didn't make that announcement that anything was going to be replaced. When you say that you're going to expand Magic Kingdom, you're thinking you're expanding whatever on top of what you already have.
Right. Yeah. And that bothered me. That rollout bothered me, because here's the thing with DeMauro. He needed a win for that parks panel big time. The last couple expos with blue sky stuff, he got really reamed for that, right? Now he needed to deliver. And he really had to deliver because he's running for CEO. He wants to really make the headlines, right? Mm-hmm. So he gave everybody the good news at the expo. But then the next day, or like that Monday, he sneaks it in like, oh yeah, by the way, you're going to lose the river. So I just felt like I understand why he did it that way, but it felt slimy to me.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's why I'm not a huge fan of his. I don't think he's a bad guy. As a person, he seems like a cool guy. Wouldn't mind having a beer with him. He's all good with that. But in terms of how he's run the parks division, like stuff like that, and then very opportunistic. Like I feel like there wasn't a whole lot of investment going into these parks until he was like in serious contention to be the CEO. Now it's suddenly very advantageous to kind of go all in because he wants to impress the board, and I just don't like what I'm seeing, and it scares me because I think it scares me because I think he's pulled ahead of Dana Walden big time.
He definitely did. But Disney as a company, that's why I wish that they would kind of, and I do love how Disney has that kind of, again, that kind of like sweet cookie cutter kind of thing to them. That's their niche. But when you're discussing something in a convention format, just come down to earth with the rest of us and make the announcement on stage. But as Jared said, give us a probable reason why you're making this decision. Don't just say all the sweet gumdrop kind of thing of saying, oh yeah, we're doing this because we're gonna, we're putting into hyperdrive and all the great memories, which it is great memories, but have some realism mixed in with it to say, it's going to replace the Rivers of America and Tom Sawyer Island. I know you're all probably not going to like that, but here's why.
Well, and that would have got booze.
Oh, it would have got big booze.
Yeah, and he couldn't afford it. And this is where DeMauro is really, really good working his way up that corporate machine. He knows what he's doing. He's smart. He's smart.
Yeah. He's a slick dude. Yeah. It's just one of those things with Disney. A lot of times it's like, I always contend more transparency is better. Yeah. Like even if people disagree with you, at least you can put out a statement and pay, even if you don't mean it, you just put out the words and you pay tribute to what was there, and we're going to honor this and we're going to improve, all the things. And people are still going to have their opinions, but at least you could say, I understand their thinking. And the only reason I kind of understand their thinking is because I have a couple little birdies that are inside of Disney that tell me things sometimes. And I did know about a month before they announced when this was closing that this was completely greenlit. They basically said, like, this is happening. They just got it. I just got off the final call and this was going forward. And I was like, okay. But I do know from people inside of Disney, they were presented with multiple different ways in which they could have maintained the rivers on some level or kept the riverboat. And every single one of them was just flat out said no. And I asked him, and I said, "What is there an issue with the rivers?" And he said, they actually haven't even said internally. That's the going theory, but they were just adamant of getting rid of the rivers. And he's like, even inside of Disney, they don't really even have a clear answer as to like the full reason. I'm sure the Imagineers involved in the actual project do, but the other people, they were just like, yeah, we don't even really know.
Well, and that's interesting. And I think that the thing that sort of set Magic Kingdom's river to go away compared to Disneyland's. I've said this on my channel too, where like Disneyland's river is heavily monetized because we got Fantasmic on that river, those dessert packages and the dining shits and stuff. I mean, it's a gold mine for them, right?
Yeah.
And Club 33 looks right over the rivers of America, so all the, you know, people from that can enjoy it. So I think if Magic Kingdom had that dynamic where it was like it was a revenue source for them like that,
yeah,
you would probably see it stay. But it doesn't. It's you know, Fantasmic went over to Hollywood Studios, and there's nothing really keeping the executives willing to keep the river. It probably does have issues. They probably do have to fix it. It's probably expensive, and they crunched the numbers and figured, you know what? Rather than fix it, we'll just put the $1 billion merch machine cars in there. You know?
I mean, I get it from a business standpoint.
Of like, more admirable of Disney to actually just say that then.
Well,
I think at least some semblance of honesty. I mean, if it is the case, like if they simply said it's going to cost all this money to fix the rivers, at least you would. I guess I suppose I could still disagree with it, but I could at least understand and say, well, okay, that's the reason. But I think when you leave people with just like, why are you doing this, and you get nothing, I think that just riles up the opposition to it more than giving your reasons. And even if you disagree with them, at least they're known. Yeah,
like even just if Damara would do an interview with like Fortune magazine or something, and in that interview he mentions like the money end of it and why they had to make this decision, right? Like something like that, I think would be fine.
Or at least act like it was a hard decision.
Yeah.
Act like it was like, we really hated doing this, but what, you know, give it lip service. Like Diomaro can do that. Like he can get up there and act, you know, I'm sure he probably can cry on command, maybe just, you know, like I wept every day I went over there after we were going to do, you know, whatever, like lie to people, I suppose. But yeah, I was just surprised at the lack of fanfare going away. That it just seems to send a strange message with all the changes going on in like both Muppets and the Rivers having the fan bases they have for those things. It's just, I think it comes across as just almost mean spirited. It could be taken that way.
Well, and Flamingo says here that I would have respected Disney more if they told us the truth. Yeah, I think the truth goes a long way, you know. And I just think that like
agree with it, but at least you can respect it. Yeah,
100%. Yeah, and you can put it out there. Like no one's saying they have to make a TikTok video on it, but they could do an interview with some like money magazine and just throw it in there and just have the information out there, you know. And I think that would have been fine. At least then people, like you were saying, Jared, like even if you want the river to stay, at least you understand the mindset behind it, and that might have quelled a little bit of this, like, because I mean on X I've heard it's gotten crazy lately with this whole river talk. Like
it's a cesspool waiting. Yeah, I've seen it from the outside in. I'm just like, I'm good. I'm not.
Oh my gosh, it's wild. So maybe a lot of that would have been mitigated, you know, if we at least knew the more behind the scenes stuff. But yeah, it's
so
wild.
What you're saying is Josh Diamaro should have done a TikTok dance on the rivers of America to explain why.
There it is, exactly. Oh my god!
I want to see a TikTok video be done right in front of this door.
I agree. They should play into the door. Like, what's behind the door? Like, just keep, you know, like lean into the meme of it a little bit. Like,
oh, absolutely. But you know what? Universal would do that. Universal has the balls to do that.
They would. I had thought about making a meme where you put John Travolta, where he's like, "Where is everybody?" Just like right in front of the door. Like, where did everybody go? Like, what's going on here? Like, there's just so many possibilities. I want to see where Diamaro gets convinced by people. They're like, "No, Josh, we need to do a TikTok dance in front of this. This will go over well." And he's like, "You think so?" Like, totally. Yeah. Here we go. Practicing for weeks on
it. Now, speaking of TikTok, I'm actually new to TikTok as of today. I actually have a TikTok account now.
Uh-oh.
I'm officially on TikTok. Orange Grove 55 official is my TikTok, but I don't have anything yet. But I plan on dipping my toe into the TikTok thing.
TikTok's weird. We've had some videos on TikTok like go crazy. Like we had one get like 600,000 views.
Wow.
And then you'll have another one get like 5. It's just very like it's got its own little thing. We don't really do much with it anymore, but yeah, it's an interesting platform. Nonetheless, it's
for sure. For sure. Yeah, we have a buddy contributor on the channel, Tones, and he has his own. He makes his own content as well, but he's a guest on my channel all the time. But he has the same thing. Like some of his videos do like 1 million views.
Yeah,
but then
like,
some don't. Like
Yeah, it can go wild. Like it's almost like I think Instagram throttles things more. Like it's harder to break through on Instagram sometimes. Like it's more consistent there. Whereas on TikTok, like I had one. We have a shirt I made years ago that's which has been stolen over and over again, the design, but it's Michael Scott with Mickey ears when he says, "I declare bankruptcy." Nice. So I just did a joke of like, oh, Disney's expensive. And we had a little video. That thing went like, I think it had like 400,000 views. I think we sold like 50 shirts off of it.
Wow.
But I did another one that very similar, didn't do anything. It's just you catch something that sort of just rides that algorithm. And when it does on TikTok, like it can really go. But it's very interesting, to say the least.
Yeah.
Flamingo Goal says Universal gave more reverence to saying goodbye to Poseidon's Fury than Disney did for the rivers being closed.
Yeah.
True, they did.
Yeah.
Although we still don't know why that one closed.
Well, yeah, that's true. And Universal, they still, like out here in Hollywood, I don't know how it is over there in Orlando, but they still, despite the fact that there's no ET ride here anymore, and despite the fact that we don't have Back to the Future anymore, they still sell a lot of that merch.
Yeah.
A lot of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's true. I got nothing to say about this one. It's just I just thought it was interesting, and the door was funny to me. That it's just sitting there in the middle.
Yeah, that door is so random. That's funny.
They should lean into that. Was there anything you guys wanted to hit about? Oh, you went about the Walt animatronic, because that's going to be a virtual queue, right? That's in that new show.
Yeah, they announced today that the Walt Disney animatronic show is going to go virtual queue. Now, I don't know if it's just for the first day, for the opening of the 17th only. They didn't give specifics, but the first day is confirmed it's going to be virtual queue. Which
makes sense because Main Street in that little corner, there's not a whole lot of room there because that theater doesn't get a lot of action.
Right.
It's people aren't rope dropping Lincoln typically. So, but it's cool. I love that attraction. It's a beautiful attraction. But like, so we were speculating, and our good friend Hey Bricky was speculating on this. Where how are they going to handle these crowds? Because you also have like meet and greets in front of there, like Mickey and Minnie are out there all the time, and there's not a whole lot of space. It's right there when you first walk into the park. So I guess the VQ is our answer. They're doing VQ. So.
Is there a lot of excitement for that out there? Like I've seen some mixed stuff. Like I know some of the family have been against it a little bit, like Walt's granddaughter and stuff like that. But is there legitimate people like pretty excited for this?
I think most people, including myself, I think most people are sort of like cautiously like excited. Like if they nail the animatronic, like if this thing looks like Walt, he moves like Walt, he's gonna sound like Walt because they're using his voice.
Right.
But if they nail this animatronic, this could be a very emotional experience for Disney fans, right?
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that coin, if it's malfunctioning and spitting out Bob Chapek lines and glitching out, we have a problem. And that could be the biggest disaster we've ever seen. So it can kind of go either way,
And I think right now that's why Disney has it on virtual queue, because I think they're already anticipating on a lot of people coming for this, especially opening day for Disneyland's actual birthday. And because if you actually go on, a lot of the hotels in the surrounding area are actually booked out. There's like no rooms left for the first, I'd say, 2 days of the 17th and the 18th. And there's going to be 2 virtual queues. There's going to be one at 7 a.m. and one at 12 noon. Okay.
So they're only doing 2 showings?
No, I think it's throughout the day, but they're dropping
drops.
2. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think Slimer said in the group chat of you get some Chesterfield smoke putting in there, have the full Walt effect, like he should have a pipe or something. But yeah.
Oh, the Chesterfields was perfect, man. I was rolling when I saw that text. I was like, okay, Slimer. Okay, I see you, bro.
You're like, wow, it even smells like Walt. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I do wonder if this goes over well. I mean, if they do bring this to like Disney World, I could see it maybe.
Oh, absolutely. They could even splash a little like whiskey on the carpet, make it really with the Chesterfields and the whiskey.
Hey,
like,
I feel like that's a good Walt cologne is Chesterfields and whiskey, and you're like, man, it smells like my grandpa.
Absolutely.
Cool.
But if it does go to Walt Disney World, I mean, that would be pretty dope. I mean, we've talked about it, George, right? Where like maybe Carousel of Progress or something, you can incorporate it into there somehow. I don't know.
Yeah, my thing was go all out, and honestly, even add the Sherman Brothers to it, where they're at the piano playing "A Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow" in that kind of rendition. To pay tribute to the classic Carousel of Progress. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah,
that would be pretty cool. Well, and like, I mean, I don't know. I guess they did have that old project, that old theater they were going to do on Main Street that they ended up canceling. I mean, you could bring something like that back and put that in there off of Main Street, maybe like that. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes over well if it made its way to their places. But I just haven't known. I got obviously over here, like I see what some people say about it, but I just haven't seen if there's like a ton of excitement or people are just sort of like wait and see mode. Or
well, the weird thing too is I think like this plays to like us, like as the diehard Disney nerds, but this is not a normie thing at all. Like,
right? Yeah.
The soccer mom ain't bringing her kids to see Walt Animatronic, right? So it's kind of weird to me that they put this much money into something just for, well, I guess it shouldn't surprise me because we talked about they're really leaning into Disney adults. So maybe that's, I don't know.
And I'm torn. Like, I understand, like, if the family has reservations, like, I've always been like, that's tough. Like, if you have the granddaughters against it, but like, I'm not against, like, I'm actually for more Walt representation in the parks. That's why the Rivers, I don't like seeing going away because it does, even though it's not the original, but it does have a connection to Walt. Yeah. And I don't like losing more of those things. But if it was done well, like I would be all for a Walt type of thing where people can learn more about him. Like they have that in Hollywood Studios, but like nobody ever goes in there. It's like the little Walt Museum. They've taken stuff out of there over the years, so it doesn't have as much stuff in there as it used to. But it is cool to go in there, and like as time goes on, it's going to be harder and harder for people to understand that this was built by one guy that just had an idea. And to be quite honest, like if you look at the history of them, like there's no reason any of this stuff should have worked. None. Yeah. Like I said, back then, like it's so much easier now to do things. You have so many more tools and investment money, like all these things. Like back when he did it, like it's crazy. Like when you I remember watching and reading some books on it in a documentary. I'm just like, he should have stopped. Like he literally like was just almost insane. He's just like, no, I'm going to do it. And it's just, and the fact that it worked and it is what it is now, and it's crazy.
Well, it's like that Steve Jobs quote where I'm paraphrasing, but he said it's the crazy ones who change the world.
Yep.
It's the ones who everyone says, oh, you're nuts for doing that.
Yeah.
And then you're a genius when it works. Right.
Yep. Well, and it's like people talk about, you'll hear some people say, well, Walt wasn't the nicest guy. I'm like, he probably wasn't. No. Because you couldn't. I mean, nice guys don't build that empire by just being like, it's okay to mess that up. You're like, you hear Steve Jobs, like, I think it was Mr. Fantastic. He said he used to work for Steve Jobs, and he was like, he was an asshole. Like he was a hardcore, like didn't care about any distractions, but he's like, he was right and he got results and he didn't care if it made you mad. And on some level, like, and this is kind of what I think is missing from Disney a bit, is like Eisner kind of had that too, where he was like, he had a vision, but like you could see that bulldog in him if he needed to and just be like, I don't care, we're doing this. Whereas I don't think Iger is that. Now he might be behind the scenes. I'm sure he's conniving on some level, and like DMR, you don't get to that spot by being, chummy with everybody. But
yeah, no, Walt was a tough dude. He definitely put on the Uncle Walt thing for sure.
For sure.
But he was because you hear like the 9 old men and their descriptions of him, like when he walks in the room, they would all like, oh, he's here. Like I think it was who was it? Was it Ward? I think it was Ward Kimball said when Walt would come in, when they would hear him go down the hall, they would say, "Man is in the forest." Like the old band.
I've heard that.
Yeah. So they respected him, they loved him, but they didn't mess with him.
Right. Well, they knew like he had a certain, like he expected a certain level from the people that worked for him, and on some level you need that.
He was the Don Diz.
It was what?
He was the Don Diz.
That's true. He was the Don Diz. Just get it done. Fire.
Get it done.
And him going to war with the unions, like he was cutthroat. Like he saw that come and he was just like, nope, we're not doing this. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like
oh man.
Some of the stuff is just, it's wild. But I love reading about Walt and just like, all, and it kind of had a tragic life, like his parents dying the way they did and things like that. But I mean, I'm all for bringing more Walt history into the parks for sure.
Well, and you bring up a great point too, Jared, where as we get further and further and further away from Walt, and really there's not too many people now that have worked for him. I think the only one that can really come to mind right now is Bob Gurr. There might be a few others, but very small pool right now of people that work directly for him. And as we get further and further and further away from that, it's important to sort of like let younger generations know this was a man. This is what he did. So this animatronic show works towards that. Even little things like the partner statue.
Yep.
And the statues they put in like DCA and around the world, those matter because your kids walk by and go, "Oh, who's that?" "Oh, okay. Well, let me tell you, son."
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's cool because like I mean, and we all at times have our critiques of what Disney does nowadays, but like my daughter, we went to the parks a couple years ago and she saw the partner statue, and is that the partner statue that they call it that's near the hub in Disney World? Actually, it's Walt and Mickey in the hub.
Yeah, it's partner statue.
The partner statue.
And she was like, "Who's that?" And I was like, "Well, it's Walt Disney." And she's like, "Oh, he has the same name as the park." And I was like, "Well, he built." I explained to her, like, we were waiting for the fireworks. I was going on about what he did, and she was like, "He did all that?" I'm like, "Yeah, he did." And she was like, "How?" And I'm like, "That's a great question," because none of it. But it's like, it's still like it because sometimes she'll just be like, we'll go somewhere and she's like, "Did he build this?" And she's about Hollywood Studios. I'm like, "No, he didn't build this one." But I was like, he built the other things and this inspired those, but none of this would be here if it wasn't for him. And she's like, "Wow." Like, and I just like being able to relay that to her of like, you can do stuff and that like, it's legacy and things like that.
It's important. It's important. And that's exactly it. Like these things are conversation starters for young people.
Yep.
And
well, it's not inspiring too. That's why I always liked Wishes and like even Happily Ever After. It's like at least you come away like I always felt like Wishes made you feel like if you're having a rough day, you could be like, it's gonna be okay. Like and if you read about like successful people, like Walt had some bad days, like real bad days, and it's just like it's a good thing for people to learn of like not just the end point. And I've always said this like athletes too is like nobody sees these guys when they're 16. And they're grinding through everything. You see them at the end and you're like, "Oh, it must be nice." But it's like how many hours were put in and how many setbacks were there. And like, I think it's good for people to learn those things and perseverance. Like, I feel like sometimes that's missed in our modern age of just wanting everything instantly.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And failure is very, very important because failure is how you grow. I mean, that's Walt Disney had a lot, like you were saying, Jared, Walt Disney had a lot of failure in his career. But that failure, like, look, one of the biggest failures was losing Oswald.
Yep.
But it led to one of his biggest wins, which is Mickey. Yep. Right. So it's like that. It's so important, but you're right. In today's day and age, people just want instant success.
Yeah.
They want to bypass all the failure stuff. Well, the failure stuff is what's going to build your character. So when you are successful, you're even better,
Yep. Well, I was liking it to I have a business degree, and I can tell you sports and fitness have taught me more about business than my business degree has. Because you learn a lot through failure, and like if you want to get stronger, it's like you're going to fail constantly, and it hurts and it sucks. If you want to bench 300 pounds, you're going to have a lot of times where it just ends up on your chest. And it's like, obviously you want to do it a safe way, but it teaches you about like keep going and going after things. And I think that's something I wish would be brought more into, like even say like Epcot. Like you used to have more of an educational format to that, like have more stuff like that to kind of show that part of it. I think it's a good thing for kids, especially of just like
100%.
So failure is, like you said, you need it, and then it's how you react to that. And I mean, I always tell people all the time, like read stuff about Walt. It'll inspire you to do stuff because, like I said, he had really no business in doing the things he did when he did them, but he did it.
He did it, and none of the three of us wouldn't be here right now talking if it wasn't for that man.
Well, that's the thing. What would there even be theme? I mean, the theme park world. I mean, they basically created that whole idea from just being like, I want to create this space for this, and like created a whole thing around it. Like, it's kind of crazy to think about the norms of today were just he thought of them and was like, now it's a norm. It's kind of crazy, but
it's wild. It's wild. And he was like that classic sort of like, I don't know. I mean, obviously I never met him, but like he has that classic masculinity. Like he was really like, I don't know. He was cool, man. He was really cool. I don't think we'll never see another guy like that in our
No,
lifetime.
I don't think so. Yeah, I've said that. I mean, it's difficult if like you look at the like what would Walt do? I'm like, right, but there's one Walt. Like you're not going to have another one come out. The closest I think you're ever going to get to a CEO that was like him, and I say like him, very very small like him, was like Eisner, of having that like vision and risk taking, and not everything he did worked, but he saved Disney in a time when they needed it, and it was due to. And I think this is something Disney needs now, which is a vision for what you want and not just reacting to what Universal is doing or the current trends. It's like, where do we want to take these things? What do we want to do? And having a vision and applying that. I think without somebody that has a visionary leader type to do that, it just doesn't come naturally to a company. And then you kind of get wayward.
Yeah. And what's interesting with Michael Eisner is he took the Uncle Walt thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he did it, but he made it his own.
Yeah.
Like Eisner had his own he did the same kind of thing, but he had his own little style with it, Yeah. And it was cool seeing him like host like the Wonderful World of Disney and stuff like that. I can't see like Bob Iger doing that. Like Bob Iger is much more of a businessman.
Yeah. Bob Iger comes out of the woodwork when there's something that is to be announced, where Eisner was out there in the crowd getting his hands dirty with whether it was big news or very little significance to anything. It was just, hi, I'm Michael Eisner, CEO of the Walt Disney Company. That was him going out with his baseball cap and his Mickey T-shirt and his jeans and walking the crowds. That is, that's at times, and I get it. You have to keep some sort of like prestige, kind of mentality as a CEO, but it's like loosen up a bit, like loosen the tie, open up your shirt a little bit.
Yeah, that's the one thing. Bob Iger actually does have charisma. He's actually a charming dude, but he's like Tony Stark charming. Like he's not like fun, lovable. I'm gonna wear a Kermit tie and introduce the Wonderful World of Disney kind of guy, right? Yeah, he's got like that. It's not the same kind of vibe.
You get the vibe from Iger that he's trying to sell you something that you don't really want. Kind of like but he's charismatic in a way, and you're like, I don't know, and he's just like, no, you want this product. Whereas I feel like Walt, especially, but maybe Eisner would like tell you a story, and there's been talked about Disney before, where it's like, I think one of the Imagineers said it was like, classic Disney was giving you something you weren't asking for, and then once you experience it, you're like, I didn't know I needed that, but I needed it.
Right.
And I think that can be like, well, what do you mean by that? And it's like you almost get there by having a vision and believing in it and being like convincing people of your vision through your storytelling. And I think that's missing a lot of in the modern day Disney, of like that storytelling aspect from the CEO down of doing it. And like Eisner was very like, he loved Walt. He constantly was like, it wasn't like he took it as like he was intimidated by Walt. He was like, no, like we're expanding on what Walt did, and talked about Mickey Mouse all the time. So like he did it in a very like interesting way that it was his own, like you were saying, but at the same time, he paid homage to it and respected what came before him, but also had a vision for where he wanted to take it. I know Iger gives lip service sometimes, but I just don't believe him when he says, like, I go to Walt's office all the time and think. I'm like, do you really? Like, or do you just go take a nap in there and then you come out and you're like, by the way, can we buy something else? Like, it just, that's the vibe I get.
Yeah.
I always thought that was his subtle way of saying he thinks in the John.
I mean, we do know he likes to take multiple showers.
That's true. That was confirmed.
Can you imagine being the CEO and they're like, by the way, this is my office. You're like, what? I like showers. You're like, okay, I guess. Like,
that's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's wild. It's wild. Pretty soon though, he'll be out. I mean, his time is coming to an end.
Yeah. That's going to be very interesting to see. I think I agree with you. I think from everything I've heard, D'Amaro's in the front runner for it.
I think so.
So we'll see. But all right, we'll finish up here. I just want to bring up this last story here of it's really kind of hard to know. We don't really know where Epic's attendance is and all those things like that. But we did get word for May that Epic Universe has fueled the biggest month ever in basically Orange County tourist tax collections.
Wow, dude.
So they said the launch of Epic Universe rocketed Orange County's tourist tax collections to the highest level ever for the month of May. The tax brought in nearly $30 million for the month, about $1.6 million more than the previous best for May. and that was set last year. So 5.7% year over year attendance. So basically, obviously, on that level, Epic Universe has had an impact. And they said they talked about when Animal Kingdom opened, it went up about 8%. So Epic is having an impact. Now, we don't know the attendance numbers. We don't know anything from Universal yet. But I'm very curious looking at even Disney today announced a lot of deals extending into Christmas time. And did you see they even said Georgia residents now are getting.
Yes.
So I don't recall that ever happening that I recall.
No, never. It never went outside the border of Florida residents.
Yeah.
Well, so what's also interesting too is what does this mean? Because we do know that the tourism district, Central Florida Tourism District, they recently approved a fifth gate, or not approved it, but like gave Disney the go if they want to do it, right?
Right.
But I wonder if these numbers, if they're gonna like look at Disney and go, look, I mean, like encourage Disney to do it, because it seems like a new park in this new era seems to be fueling a lot of tourism for the state, or the county. I mean, maybe they will incentivize Disney to go ahead with some like a new park. I didn't think they would. I didn't think a fifth park was really in the cards right now. I don't necessarily know if it's a good idea for Disney as a company, but I'm curious if they push it because they're seeing these numbers from Epic.
Yeah, I still contend that we talked about this last stream too about I don't think there's enough room in Orlando market for a fifth park from Disney, but they could look at that. And this was an interesting chart I found from Fast Company. And this is like a forecast of the next 5 years. And essentially they're showing that Disney stays rather stagnant for the next 5 years as they're building their things. But with Epic on board, that Universal is looking to add 5.2 million, 9 million, up to 12, almost 10, 11 million guests in the next, by 2028. If those numbers hold out, and I did some math on this, Universal, if this is even remotely accurate, will have eaten up 5% more market share from Disney. If this forecast is true.
Well, and right now at Disney World, a lot of these parks are under the knife, like you were saying, Jared, and that's going to be, kind of tough. I would imagine the next 5 years that Disney's going to take a hit because until the new stuff opens at Disney, basically, because.
But do you think it's a full 5 years though? Because with Monsters Inc. and Tropical America's opening in 2027.
No, that's true.
I don't know if I buy that timeline though. I just no, they can prove me wrong. I have a hard time thinking. I think Tropical America's could, but I have a hard time thinking Monsters Inc. Land is going to be done in 2 years. But maybe they build quicker. But just looking historically how they build, they typically build rather slowly. I mean, even the guy that I know inside of Imagineering said he was jealous of how quickly Universal builds. I don't know I'm sure Disney's capable of it, but I think that's a big thing of like how long do these things take, and then once they do come online, does the market react to it like Disney wants? And if you think about too, Disney's talked about the floating boat, rising tide lifts all boats. So if Epic Universe is good for them, then essentially Disney having new things is also good for Universal, because I think they're going to share an audience going forward. So it'll be. That part will be interesting in terms of how do people react to it, and then what else is Universal doing. And that's why I say the next 5 to 10 years, I think is going to be wild in terms of what happens here.
Now, Jared, we do have to touch upon before we go. We were sharing it in our group text about the Brian Roberts, Bob Iger meetup.
Oh, yeah.
Because what's that about? That's weird, because these two men hate each other. At least I've heard.
I don't think they've been too friendly.
So I don't know what that's about. Are they working on something?
That conference, I think this is like known as, and I'll bring it up. It's known as the Summer Camp for Billionaires, which is basically a lot of people go here to make deals. And apparently last year, I think Iger went here, and the rumor was he was trying to shop ABC, and nobody was buying it. But yeah, that's Brian Roberts, and that's Iger right there. Like maybe they're just walking in next to each other, but it's kind of interesting to see those two dudes kind of side by side.
What are they
walking
up to?
Kind of close, like they were having a conversation, though.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it looks like they're going into a thing. You got Tim Cook there. I mean, this thing gets tons of people. I mean, you got OpenAI guy there. Like,
wow.
Who knows? I mean, some people are taking that picture and thinking Universal and Disney were doing some deal, and I was like, I don't think that's the case. But it's interesting because, like, I would assume Brian Roberts made Iger pay an extra $50 billion for Fox that he didn't want to.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true, and that's why you're seeing Disney go. I think that's why you're seeing a lot of this like push. Like we're getting Pandora in Anaheim, which I'm happy for. But when you spent 50 billion, because it was 70 billion initially the price tag, but then they sold a bunch of the sports stuff, so it ended up coming out to about $50 billion for Fox, right? Which is still very high. But when you have to justify that price tag and kind of like, because that was the one acquisition that was like the most iffy for Bob, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what do? Well, you start building stuff and utilizing this Fox stuff to justify the price tag. So he can look back now and go, well, see, yeah, I spent 50 billion, but we got an Avatar land in Anaheim, and we're building one in Abu Dhabi now, and like, so it almost like justifies the purchase, so to speak. You know what I'm saying?
And honestly, too, if there was ever a conversation that Iger and Roberts would be having, would be possibly some Marvel deals.
That's what.
Yeah,
that's what kind of came to mind. I'm like, I do wonder at some point if that ever gets something happens there, because Disney wants to use the Marvel stuff.
Mm-hmm. And you talk about a fifth gate. If they were to add anything, I mean, you can do an entire Marvel.
You could.
Now, as a Floridian, as a Disney Worlder, Jared, I mean, you haven't experienced the stuff, but you've seen what we have out here in California. Any desire to get that over there, or not really?
I've been kind of underwhelmed by what I've seen. I haven't heard a lot of people. I talked to you guys and other people that have been there, and like, it's even the bigger Marvel fans are like, it's okay. Like the Spider-Man ride, I've heard a lot of people say it's just not good.
No, yeah.
I say give us Marvel, but don't give us the campus.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, honestly, the campus wasn't even the original concept for California. I feel like they gave us the campus because essentially when the Eastern Gateway was supposed to go through and the new Diamond Hotel and the city of Anaheim was like, nope. And Disney basically backtracked a lot of stuff, what Anaheim was asking for, and everything got canceled. But Chapek at that time said, Marvel is hot right now. I wanted it in the parks yesterday. Then they couldn't really utilize Hollywoodland and the backlot area, and then the busload unload area, what's now going to be for Avatar. So they said, okay, well, where can we put it in DCA? What is the most expendable? And we got to have Bugs Land. Well, the problem with the Bugs Land is it's kind of cornered in on all sides, but it's the only thing that would be adjacent to Mission Breakout that it would make sense. So it's like, what can you really fit in there of Marvel? Oh, well, let's create like a campus kind of tech, kind of like where the Avengers have their home base. So I feel like that really wasn't the intention of what they really wanted for Marvel. So if we were to have something on the East Coast, I think it would be more big. Great.
I mean, I used to, when Marvel was in the, doing really good, I was like, oh, man, I wish they could get it in Disney World. As time has gone on, I like Marvel Superhero Island. I like the datedness of it. Like, it's kind of a throwback to the comics. But I think if Disney wants to get it, I think the question would be the price tag.
Yeah.
I'm imagining it would be, it's hard to even know. I would imagine it'd be at least $1 billion.
Well, and also, too, that's also would help Universal because they can't do anything else with it.
Right.
It would just stay as is. They can only do touch-ups.
Yeah. I mean, it's worth it for Universal. Like, I've often contended, they're not going to give up those rights just to give them to Disney.
Right.
Like, if they back up the Brinks truck. Yes. And then we've talked about, too, like, say the Superman movie really takes off. Maybe if the DCU becomes a big thing, I mean, that could be potentially a replacement for Marvel Superhero Island, given that they already have a relationship with Warner Brothers and rumored to maybe be buying Warner Brothers.
A DC area at Iowa would be incredible, because could you imagine a Gotham City on the same quality as a Wizarding World?
Gosh, that'd be so awesome.
Dude.
That's the thing, is like, I would love to see a fully immersive, well done superhero area in the same realm of like a Wizarding World.
Yeah.
I think that would be awesome. Oh, we got theme park conductor here.
What's up, theme park
conductor? What's up? Uh-oh. I think you're silent.
You're on mute, brother.
Oh, hold on.
There you go. There you go.
There it is.
So sorry that it's so late.
Oh, no worries, man. Glad you could make it. Yeah, we were just sitting here talking about Bob Iger and Brian Roberts apparently being friends now.
Yeah. Was that another facade?
I don't know. Maybe Brian Roberts just insulted Bob Iger, and they're doing that thing of like they're just yelling insults at each other under their breath or something. But
now I will say this for a 70 plus, I think almost 80 years old now, man, Bob Iger is in pretty good shape.
Believe it or not.
He does take care of himself. I will say that. He probably does a lot of Pilates, if I were to guess.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, that's very LA. He's got to be doing the Pilates.
I would love to see like Iger or one of these CEOs, like Jeff Bezos, like get on TRT and they just come out jacked. You're like, oh my gosh, what have you been doing? Like,
That would be awesome.
because you look at Bezos and like all of a sudden you're him, you're like, what in the world? He's doing something there. But
Oh, 100%.
I'd like a jacked Disney CEO. I think that'd make a lot of sense.
Oh, that'd be great, man.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Let's see. Skywalker Brian says there was an idea to bring together a group of remarkable people, and it all started with the Hatch. Nick Fury. That's true.
And he's referring to the Hatch. It's and by the way, big shout to Skywalker Brian. Skywalker, I'm not really on X anymore. I'm on Instagram, so hit me up on Instagram because I miss talking to you, man. But the Hatch was that manhole thing. That they had in front of Mission Breakout to like tease the bigger area. That was like back in like 2018 or something.
Gotcha. I remember that.
Flamingo Gold says, but isn't DC cornered by Six Flags? It is, but I feel like it's Six Flags. Like I feel like if Universal really wanted it, they could be like, take some. If Disney backs up the truck and pays like say $1 billion for Marvel, I think they would take some of that money and be like, let's have a conversation.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Absolutely.
I don't know. But yeah, they technically are. But I think they just closed. Didn't Six Flags just close down like a Superman ride not that long ago?
They did. Yes.
Yeah. I feel like that could work.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see here. But yeah, so we're actually just about to wrap this up, Theme Park Conductor. I'm glad you could hop on, though. But I think George and I are going to hop on with Theme Park on Sunday, I think.
Yeah, Sunday it is. We're gonna be talking about the Walt Disney show at the Opera House. Final thoughts on that. It's going to be really interesting. Now with the virtual queue system, George, me and you were talking after the live stream earlier today about HHN and Terrifier and all that. You want to tell everybody what your idea is, what we're going to try to come up with to fix that problem
For
the virtual queue?
Refresh my memory. I can't remember.
Okay, so I'll get into it and you kind of take off from there. Okay. So what we were thinking is, since virtual queue is, in my personal opinion, a horrible system, I hate it. George had a great idea where you could put all these different people, whether they have tickets or magic keys, on one device and book a virtual queue for all these people. So that's what we're gonna attempt to try to do. But
so basically, like when you link your tickets and your passes together, like as like friends and family, and you're all linked, like when you do like lightning lanes and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Well, if you end up going on the virtual queue, can anyone that's linked to you, but you're also linked to them, if everyone tries, does that heighten your chances of getting a virtual queue?
Either that or you have Mickey Mouse laughing at you in the corner. You probably will.
You don't get one, he just spots in the corner and be like, ha 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 ha. You're like, damn.
Pretty much. Or you got that stupid Mickey popcorn bucket freaking blinking its eyes at you, turning its head away from you.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that. Thing looks spooky.
Yeah. You don't want to wake up in the middle of the night and see that thing staring at you.
No, or even talking. Good Lord.
It's like a horror. Yeah. Wait till someone do a horror movie based on that one. Jeez. Are you excited for the Terrifier house? Because I was telling them I've seen clips of that, and I was like, I want nothing to do with those movie franchise, personally speaking. But is that something you're into, like Terrifier? You think it'll be good?
Oh, 100%, 100%. And it's really interesting because we talked about it on the live stream earlier today with George. That I honestly feel that Terrifier could be something of a like a Monstrose, where we're going to get multiple years of it based off different movies, which I'm okay with, because Terrifier is a strong IP, and it's something where I feel that they could do that with. Now, like with Halloween, sorry to say it, but Michael Myers doing movie 1 through 4, it doesn't really cut it, because it's not even really 1 through 4. It's like 1, 2, and
Right, because
4.
you got Season of the Witch that like it just doesn't.
Yeah, because they were planning on, they did multiple people did a video on this years ago. They were actually supposed to have season of the Witch for the 2020 season, but obviously COVID happened. So
I guess there was a blessing in disguise in 2020.
So have you seen the Terrifier movies, theme park conductor?
I have. I finally watched the third one not too long ago, because buddy of the channel, Tommy Toon World, he went to go see it. He told me, you have to see it. I'll tell you one thing right now, since Jared, you'll probably never see it because obviously you're not a fan of it. It's a one and done situation. You don't want to watch it multiple times.
Yeah, I got that vibe. I saw one. I won't describe it, but a young lady had a interesting way to go, and I'm like, I don't need that in my life. I just want to go. I was getting ready to go to bed, and I'm just like, now I gotta do something and wipe that out of my memory, because I think also having kids changes you. Because now I see that, I'm like, oh, that's somebody's kid. Like, what are we doing here? Like, it just Parent, it softens you a bit. It rounds off your hard edges a little bit, I guess.
Definitely. And one thing to add on that, because all week long we've been teased by WWE, by John Murdy, by others, that we were supposed to get a WWE announcement this morning.
Yeah, we were talking about that a little bit. Like, that probably still coming, I think.
It's coming, but now I kind of feel they're going to save that for Midsummer.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't keep up with. I don't know much of the wrestling guys nowadays, but I mean, back in the old, like, I would have loved to seen like a Stone Cold, The Rock, like all those dudes in a house. Like, that'd have been
Undertaker.
Yeah, like when The Rock was cool, and he actually did you guys ever see old school Rock like in the 90s? Yeah. Oh my gosh, he was hilarious.
Okay, Jared, Jared, you and I are about the same age. Do you remember Glow Wrestling back in the day?
Glow Wrestling,
and it was like all a bunch of like hot chicks.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
A Glow Wrestling, I'm in. I think that's a great idea.
There we go. We can make that a maze.
Yeah, I will say my claim to fame when I was in high school is I was actually into WCW in like the late 90s, like when I was like first in high school. And I'm only 22, guys. Me and OG, we're 22. Exactly. And so you had to do a video on like a Hamlet play. And so I convinced my teacher to let us do it like we were WWF wrestlers fighting for a championship belt. There's a video of it somewhere of us doing Hamlet in the style of like Stone Cold and The Rock. It's probably very cringy, but I feel like it was ahead of its time.
That's awesome.
Interesting. So Skywalker Brian actually said in the chat that WWE house will be announced before Midsummer. So it makes me wonder, if that's the case, what are they saving for Midsummer? Because they got to have something.
I don't know.
It could be FNAF, because FNAF hasn't officially been announced yet. It's been heavily rumored, but not official yet.
Yeah, I don't know. I need to keep. I'm getting to the season now where I'm starting to get into the Halloween Horror Nights mode of like getting in these houses. But here it's like it's 96 degrees every day and like 100% humidity. I'm like, I can't even think about. Like, you've already seen Halloween stuff pop up right after the 4th of July, and I'm like, I can't.
It's like that out here in Cali too. Today was blazing hot. I went for my walk today and I was like sweating buckets when I came back.
Oh yeah, Even our kid, like our daughter, will go play with her friends. She comes home, I'm like, what's wrong? And she's like, it's too hot. I'm like, yeah, it's hot. I don't blame you one bit there, but
it's horrendous. I'm ready for the rain and the cold. Bring that back. At least I could dress warmer.
Oh, it's worth the heat to deal with Florida when you get November through May. Maybe April. Oh, it's
what I heard.
It's perfect. It's like 55 degrees at the coldest. You get to like 72, no humidity. Like, that's when
I'm not ready for the rain and the cold yet, because I still didn't really get to enjoy my California summer because I've been cooped up in the house for
That's
like
true.
almost 2 months, and like I still want the California heat.
Yeah, and then you
Well,
got
the good news.
Flaming Goals
the
up
good
to
news is
118 yesterday in Phoenix. Ooh.
Oh my God, Flamingo.
At least it's
No.
a
Stay
dry
hydrated.
heat. At least I've been in Vegas when it's 120. It didn't feel 120, but I mean, it was hot, but it didn't have that humidity that sets in with you
No.
too.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
crazy.
gosh.
That's crazy.
Skywalker Brian also said, according from what Sean Ross Sapp, who is a good, reliable source for pro wrestling news, he said in his Patreon just yesterday and has been in the works since November and December of 2024, normally win bodies.
Well, on the 3/4 of that comment, I honestly believe that. We've all said it time and time again, how John Murdy and the team work 365. They take no breaks.
Yeah.
They're constantly, dealing with industry. They're constantly on phone calls, video chats, the whole 9 yards. So there is
Conductor,
no rest.
Conductor, can I ask you something?
Sure.
Did you win an Oscar? What's that over to the right?
Oh,
You want to know what?
oh, so when I wish I won an Oscar. No, this is something at Universal Hollywood. I don't know if Orlando has this. I'm sure they do, but you can actually buy a replica Oscar, and then you can actually put a custom plaque. So
Oh,
on
dope,
this
dude.
custom plaque, it says YouTube channel theme park conductor. I thought it was appropriate.
Nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
See that?
Oh, that's beautiful.
You should have put it. YouTube gave it to you and said they sent you an award.
Well, that's too small. It would be a lot of writing, and I don't know if the wizards at Hogsmeade can fit that all on that plaque. But
Hey, you never know. They do have those at Orlando, but I think that they maybe have a custom one. I know they have like best dad or
Best
whatever.
dad,
yeah.
I've won multiple of those awards.
I saw those, but they do have a section in the same area where it's a blank plaque, which is basically you could customize it to whatever
that's
you
dope.
You know, I did used to know a guy that used to he would get trophies made for himself. He would just you have a trophy, like, what's that from? And he's like, oh, he'd make up something, and we found out he was buying trophies and just acting like he won them for places. And I'm like, why would you?
Oh, that's crazy. That's wild.
I guess that's one way to do it, but all right. Well, I think we'll wrap this up here, and then George and I will be hopping on with Theme Park Conductor on Sunday, and I'm sure we'll be talking a lot about Halloween Horror Nights and some other things there. But gentlemen, thank you for being here. We'll go around the horn. Orange Grove 55. Where can everybody find you? And thank you for joining yet again for another theme parking.
Yeah, no, great time. Jared, I want to wish you a very happy birthday once again, and a huge congratulations. 13,000. 13,000. That is a massive, massive milestone. So cheers to the next 13. And love what you do here. And I want to thank you for having me on. You can find me on Orange Grove 55 here on YouTube. You can also find me now on TikTok, which is Orange Grove 55 official on there. And Conductor, do you have TikTok? Are you on there yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
All right, because I want to ask it because I was going to follow you. But
is this the first phase of OG getting us to do TikTok dances with you to get clout?
Yes, we're definitely doing TikTok dances. We're definitely doing TikTok dances.
Starting on the 16th in front of the Opera House after we see the show.
There we go.
You
gotta get it that way. And then you've got now you just hit 6K, and then you're doing a celebration live stream for yours, correct?
Yeah, 6K, and we're doing a celebration live stream this upcoming Saturday. So Saturday evening. Yep.
Everybody's hitting milestones. I love it.
Yes.
And then we got
Absolutely.
George.
I don't know about miles for me. I just hit the stones.
Hey, you got the stone out, though. I mean, you don't want to collect them like Thanos. That would be painful.
Yeah, true.
I got all 5, and I can't leave my house now. But
oh God,
George the Italiano, thank you for being here. Where can everybody find you? And I've been checking out your vlogs. They're very good. I appreciate the vlogging because I know it's not easy to do, but you're doing a good job there.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And more of that will be coming out. Unfortunately, I had to take a small hiatus on it just because of everything that I've been going through. But should be getting back up, boots on the ground running. And thanks for having me on, Jared. I greatly appreciate it. And again, happy birthday to you and congratulations on the 13K. And can't wait to do more of these. I love having the in-depth conversations and yeah, it's always a good time. But everyone, if you'd like to find me, you could also find me on Orange Grove 55 with my segment of Citrus Corner with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info. And you could also check out my new YouTube channel, Citrico Central, sister channel to Orange Grove 55, where it's basically out of the podcast commentary and into the parks themselves, Disney, Universal, even the cruise line. Been doing a lot of out of theater movie reactions. So yeah, it's been going pretty well.
Awesome stuff. Thank you. So yeah, and if everybody watches Superman, we will have a discussion about Superman because I've been kind of doing more movie stuff too, and I'm very, like we said earlier, optimistic on hopefully it's good. But and then theme park conductor, a little late, but thank you for hopping on. I know you had a dinner going on and you made the effort. I appreciate it. Where can everybody find you and then all that good stuff?
Absolutely. So first off, sorry about the late notice.
Oh no,
I'm glad I showed up.
Hey,
and absolute, congratulations on the 13,000 subscribers. I cannot wait until you get to 15, 20, 25, 30 and beyond.
2 million.
2 million.
Exactly.
2 million. And also happy birthday. It's always a great time to share your birthday with friends, with your community. I just did one for my birthday last month. It was a lot of fun. And, it's always a great time talking theme parks with all the theme park nerds, especially OG, Jared, George, myself, and so many others. But you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Blue Sky at Theme Park Conductor. You can find me on X at Theme Conductor. You can also find me every Sunday on Conductor Sunday live stream at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where this Sunday, like Jared mentioned, I will be having him, George, and Tommy Toon World on the live stream talking about the final thoughts before the Walt show debuts on the 17th. Can't wait to see it. And we're going to be talking about HHN and so much more. So definitely stay tuned for that.
Yep.
Check that out. And I will put everybody's stuff in the description here, so you guys can check out their channels. Give them a follow, give them a subscribe, and thank you everybody for the birthday wishes and the channel accomplishments. I'm not very good. I don't like. I was telling them earlier, like I'm really bad about celebrating because I just like move on. But I was like, I guess I'll just. I like when people tell me like good job, I don't really know what to do with that. I know what to do with more people like, hey, you suck. I'm like, yeah, okay, fine. Like I don't know what to do with compliments. Like, oh, this is weird. But I'm trying to figure it out as I get older with it. Maybe I'll get there one day. But appreciate you guys being on here, and of course, everybody, thank you for participating in the chat. Always love you guys being in here and participating, and thank you again for the birthday wishes. And we will do these. We use these every 2 weeks or so. So by this time, we'll all see Superman, have our thoughts on it, and I'm sure there's other news that'll pop up that we'll talk about here. But thank you, gentlemen, for being on, and we will catch you guys on the next one.
Don't forget to subscribe to OG55 and become a member today.